coming to you, people. I'm coming to you. Hello, friends. Well, look at this. Microphone placement is now over on the left here because we a bit fed up of it falling off and me having to deal with it during the live stream. I hope you're all doing very well. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Chainlink and Tezos and suggested coins from you with a look towards the weekend. How are we doing price-wise? Will we manage to see out the weekend without continued weakness? Because that's what we've been looking at this week. Weakness this week. Okay, having to step over the microphone wire here. That's cool. Good to see you all. Mic issues. Is there mic issues? TradeSpawn says mic issues. It's super quiet, he says. Well, okay. That's no good. We don't want it to be super quiet. Is it still super quiet? I mean, it's coming up as in the yellow box on my screen, so I'm going to give you a second or two to see if you think that that is indeed the problem. And then we'll jump into the live chat, everybody, and see what else is everybody saying here. Well, you're still saying it's super quiet. You've not said anything else since, so... well, I'm hoping that it's not the case. Let me just see anyway, by the way, what we were talking about with regards to Bitcoin and all that in yesterday's episode has been fairly enlightening for folk. So let's hope that that keeps going. As you see, my bot has arrived. Can I ban him myself? Let me just see if I can ban this guy. Do well now to message my personal account, official Mr. William, on WhatsApp to make huge profits in BTC with his awesome strategies, says me in the chat. Obviously that's a bot. I wonder how many people get fooled into believing that that's the case. Please let me know again, TradeSpawn, if it is still super quiet. You've not actually responded since. I'll just put that in the chat. ASMR it says. So is it super quiet? Oh, it's not terrible, just quieter than normal. Wonder if that's got something to do with me dropping this thing earlier on. Is that better, by the way? Is me talking into the other side of the mic? That might actually be a bit better there. Let me know if that makes it any better. If not, well, you know, if it's not terrible and whatnot, then I suppose we can crack on. I can get my sound thingies up there, my options, and make it a bit better. It's fine here, says Zoner. Okay, well that's good. That's good. That's good. It's good, says TradeSpawn. Excellent. Okay, so we're happy enough with it as it stands. Thank you to the 5 concurrent viewers that we have here, and the 4 likes we have. Now maybe even 6 concurrent viewers. The stream is growing. The stream is growing. Let's see if everybody that comes along, if they can hit that like button, then that would really help bring new eyeballs to the channel. It's good to see you there, Steve. XRP is gold, Steve. Nice to have you back again, my friend. It's good to have you here, Jamie. It's good to have you here, Susan, KDoc, Zoner, and Jamie. Did I say you already? I guess as well there's the bot as well. There's the bot. So hi to Rocky Outcrop, the robot that's in chat. Yeah, I didn't see if I could ban him there. I'm going to try it again here in a second, see if I can ban that guy. And as well, we might have to set up some folk who are going to be moderators for the chat at some point, right? We might have to do that. Do you mind if we look at the TA for XRP and XLM, please? Says Steve. XRP is gold, Steve. Right, well, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do that during the show. So, cool. Good suggestion. Good suggestion. Let's do that during the show. I will say that the way that the format for this works is quite simple, really, that in every live stream I will take a look at Bitcoin, Chainlink, Ethereum, and Tezos. That's the current format. And then additional ones afterwards, unless somebody comes along with a super chat or a donation, in which case I honor those and do them at the time that they come in. Well, you know, next. I do them next, obviously. So we'll see how we get along there. If we've got enough time, then absolutely we'll take a look at XRP and XLM. Is it tomorrow for the Ripple drop? Ask KDoc. Well, actually, now that you're here asking about when things will happen, is it not today that we're seeing 24 grand Bitcoin? It's got to go up $6,000. Is that possible in the near future? Well, you know, brief look at the chart would indicate that it probably is somewhat unlikely to achieve those numbers. by tonight, but you never know. Hey, you never know. XRP dump right after the airdrop. Well, yeah, that's what we kind of are wondering about, right? When is that airdrop? Is that today, tomorrow, something like that? So you're saying, is it tomorrow for the Ripple drop? And of course that would be the airdrop that you're referring to there. So cool. Anyway, let's just check in with the charts. We'll start to crack on then. So has it been about 5 minutes or so? It's always hard for me to tell how long we are into the chat, like, or into the video. I have to find somewhere I can see that easier, and then I can write these time targets a bit better. But the first 5 minutes is just chit chat. Then we take a look. First 7 mins, chit chat, then BTC TA. So there we go. There's my first sort of my first timestamp thing for folk who are looking along at the chat there during the episode. Again, welcome to everybody, all the viewers that are there at the minute. If you hit that like button, then it would be massively appreciated. Makes more people willing to join the stream, I suppose, or puts it in front of more eyeballs or something like that. I don't really know. We'll see how it goes. Also, by the way, if folk could leave comments down below in the actual comment section after the stream, I suppose that would probably help too, but whatever. Right, cool. So what we see here is that the price of Bitcoin came down to our target. Woo! And that is right on here on this orange line. A couple of things to note, I suppose, starting off here, is that on the 4-hour time frame, it didn't respect this 200 simple moving average. As you see, we wicked down to it a couple of times. Then it looked to be breaking it, but it didn't officially break it. You know, we just kind of went below it and then back up again. So that 4-hour candle close and open suddenly obviously becomes a wick on a higher time frame with regards to that movement. And we can see here as well in the 12-hour time frame that clear picture as well. So we were chatting about Bitcoin yesterday, somewhere in about that area, I don't know, and we went on down to that area after. So what does this look like in comparison between the sort of 412 and 24? Just first off at how we've arrived at this point so far. And in terms of structure, of course, you know, we're simply putting in still, you could say, a higher low after having had our higher high on the bigger time frames. Okay, so you could say that and make the comparison point between these two lows here, as I'm sort of looking at with that white line. But in terms of just, you know, looking at this downward trend that we've been in since the 1st of December, then you can look for some divergences. And if we look towards the bottoms here in the 12-hour time frame, then we're not seeing any quite yet. The thing that does stand out, though, is the fact that we've come lower down here. Thanks very much for the contribution, by the way, K-Doc. It should be appearing up on my screen any second. Oh, by the way, I'm still in the wrong screen. Thanks for that. I'll have to put in another timer thing here. Right, 8... What did you say, by the way? I don't think you'd said anything along with that. 8 minutes 30 for BTC. Right, okay, brah. Right, 8 minutes 30 for BTC. We've acknowledged the error of our ways. Let's jump on over to the live scene. Okay, start off the technical analysis right here. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Lol. Just fix up the screen so it looks nice for you at home. Take 2, says Zoner. That's right, starting off here. Here we go with the... with the technical analysis. Right, so looking at this, first off, what have we got on the screen? That's the RSI over there, and we're looking at it on the 12-hour time frame and making a comparison between the two most recent lows, acknowledging that the RSI has come below the previous low over here, while the yeah, we fixed the screen issues now, by the way, Steve. You'll be okay. Yeah, while the price action itself didn't go lower. So of course that is the tentative signs of hidden bullish divergence. Okay, so that's your most positive thing for you at the minute. The most positive aspect in terms of the bull trend, got caps lock, bull trend positives. Just put a positives like that, right? Pluses, and we've got potential hidden divergence. Bull divergence on RSI 12-hour. Okay, so that's kind of, you know, the first positive thing that we can really say, other than the one I think that speaks for itself, which is essentially that we have an uptrend that we're looking at, right? We've been in an uptrend for quite a while, so there's that. Okay, looking down towards the 4-hour then, how does that kind of compare? And we can say the second positive thing is that we have managed to maintain the 200 simple moving average, as we can see here. So we've managed to maintain that, and it's a reasonable low, having come in and tested tested the 200 simple for the first time since all the way back there in October on the 4-hour time frame. So this was an inevitability of sorts, and we've done it now, so that's good. Okay, so that can be a second positive thing. And a third positive thing we can say is the bullish divergence that we're seeing between the two most recent lows at our little pivot point here in the market. Bit of bullish divergence there in the 4-hour time frame, giving us a little bit of hope looking forwards as we're kind of trying at the minute, struggling, if you like, to get above the 8-period simple or exponential moving average here, as you can see, which has been dominating price action really for the last wee while. And we could change this over to different periods as well. It doesn't need to be 8. Oh, it's actually set to 10 currently. Put it to 8. You can see we've not managed to open and close the above that, and of course the 10-period exponential moving average is what's being challenged by that right now. So there we have that. We can add those things to it, so we can say we're above the 200 simple on the 4-hour time frame, and we have bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. So that's where we are. But of course this is going to be a look towards the weekend as well, so I want to stick on the higher time frames overall. But we can put this sort of regular divergence, bullish, have to make sure I get the words right, regular bullish divergence on 4-hour. Right, now that's still not necessarily confirmed in the same way that we haven't necessarily confirmed that we've actually managed to, you know, see the 200 active support, but we'll write these things in here anyway. SMA providing support, or you could say a successful test of it, if you liked, kind of thing, right? So those are our sort of positives up there at the minute for us, and of course that's all very, very rosy. I'm not going to write on there that we're challenging the 8-period moving average at the minute, because, you know, that doesn't really kind of stand the test of time. Instead, what you should really be doing with that yourself is kind of looking towards this and asking how that's progressing over the period of the weekend, and if we're able to maintain any sort of stance above that in general. Looking here then, just checking the chat as well to see if anything's just to get your attention. Cheers, by the way, K-Talk, to get my attention there. It worked. It worked. Thanks very much. What about that bot? Can I ban the bot? Let me see. I'm looking for options here on the when I click on his name. Rocky. Well, let me ban Rocky. Let me see. Can I hide user on this? And I think it must say channel afterwards. So bye bye Rocky. Rocky is now hidden. This user's messages will be hidden. Well, there we go. He's all blocked as the old Rocky. Rocky Outcrop was hidden by Rocky Outcrop. Strange, that one, but he was impersonating me. So what do we need to look to then for the positivity over the next wee while? And when will this start to look like a confirmed low then, that we can actually say that tentative bullish divergence we're seeing on the 4-hour time frame is actually a thing? And do we have any sort of bullish divergence in the past to look to between these two lows, or anything that's failed to give us any sort of ideas? As we can see, when we came at this orange sort of pivot point in the market, we didn't actually have any of that bullish divergence, or then we went on towards the downside. This time around we do so far, but we're only coming up as far as, you know, our previous lows before the drop, not managing to really break any structure, so we're not really quite there yet. So I'm going to say, if we take out this, so if you want to add this as a conditional thing, if we take out the 8-period moving average, you know, and move towards the top side thereafter, get a bit of follow through and take out some of these levels in there at the 18,300, then we have it, you know, and that could be quite good to see. If we only make it as far as these areas and then drop away, well, then that could maybe just be the bullish divergence playing itself out as much as it needs to. So we could say in here, looking for confirmation based on taking out small period EMAs this weekend, for instance, and obviously the previous highs and lows. Okay, so we have our big ass notes over there. They can kind of just chill out at the top, and we can then start to kind of then draw in a different picture, I suppose, if we look at some other things as well in the near term. We also have the sort of bullish divergence here on the MACD. We also have it on the DMI. By the way, if you're interested, I suppose here's another explainer. The negative DMI and the negative DI and the positive DI, you're looking to continually achieve higher highs alongside the trend that they would represent. So the negative one, you look for higher highs as it gets lower lows, and with the positive one you look for higher highs as you get higher highs. So it's kind of straightforward, the positive one, the negative one less so. As you can see, we didn't achieve a higher high on the DMI here, showing that diminishment in strength as we look towards those two previous lows. Okie dokie. So that's where we find ourselves. Now we don't have that hidden bullish divergence over here on the MACD or the DMI. That's just purely existing on the 12-hour time frame between, or is it on the 12-hour, these two? No. And no. Well, yeah. The DMI seems to have it. Yeah, the DMI has it, although it's in chop at the minute, and that's a little bit kind of a little bit of a non-statement, really. So, right, cool. What about the 24-hour time frame then? Where have we come from and what are we doing and what's the overall story? Well, look, we are at weak right now. This is weakness. This is what it looks like to be in a weak position where you could see, obviously, the rolling over of the price action. And this will all come down to whether or not we're able to take out this blue line. So over the period of the weekend, I'm going to have my eyes peeled for 17 grand. If we do take out 17 grand, then I am going to then start looking down immediately towards that 16,280 or so price point where we have this, or 16,200, whatever, price point where we have this line here, and with an eye on the 50 simple period moving average here on the daily time frame in between times, just as a sort of pointer to look to. Now, that would also be coming in at around about where you'd find a really solid retrace level in terms of the 786 or so in around about this area when you look at between this low and this high that we had over there on the 27th up to the 1st of December. So we would have that coming in there as well to offer up more confidence if we do see things going down. So our three key areas really to bear in mind are 17,630, 17,085, and then 16,200. And why am I talking about that? Well, that's worth talking about. Now, of course, as well, this could obviously, if those things happened, it'd be talking about having a gap on the daily time frame, most likely for the CMEs. So we're keeping an eye out on where they could be going as well. And of course, bearing in mind that this weakness could of course last longer. In terms of the CMEs, we're seeing this weakness in the markets here quite distinctly as we're below the 8-period moving average here in the 24-hour time frame, and evidently going to close below it today as well, unless we see some resurgence in price of over $600 within the next few hours. And of course that could happen, although nothing is telling us that that is likely to happen in terms of looking at these oscillators and everything else that we have on the go. And the risk of course then is sort of playing towards that is far too great. We don't actually have a cross negatively between the DMI, the positive DI and the negative DI here on the DMI, and the ADX is still above the sort of 40 area, so still very much positioned strongly, but we're following on from bearish divergence here along the way with the DMI, and we're looking at a cross, and it's very much distinctly pointing towards the downside. We could see a few of these things kind of happening at once. We also have the swing failure point to bear in mind as well with regards to these highs here that were divergent, and we've taken that out so far. So we're currently on the way, this weakness being signified quite clearly by taking out the swing failure point. If you don't know what swing failure point is, by the way, I've explained it a few times in the past, but we've gone past this zone really so far. So we'd be looking to see if this operates in terms of resistance over the weekend, or if we can take it back out again in terms of looking for positivity. Obviously that goes hand in hand with retraces towards the top side. This is obviously the CME chart though. If this happens over the period of the weekend, then we want that sustained strength to stay there in the markets until Monday. Now, the way that the prices are positioned with regards to today, what could we be looking at in terms of gaps? Well, if the prices move towards the top side into that 18k area, 18.2, 18.3, and we're operating like that as we open back up, then we probably wouldn't actually have a gap on the CME chart here. And likewise, if we were looking towards the downside, 17,560, if the prices go down to that 17,200 or so price level here, you might also not actually even have a gap on the CMEs given the distance that we've traversed today. I suppose we can put that into context. Actually, there was no premium on the CME today. That went away. So that's interesting as well to see that. Right now we're looking at a premium of $6, and obviously there's a 10-minute time delay there. So now we're no longer contangoed, and just as I'm looking at the charts, it's flicked to 17,990, versus the spot price of 17,990 something. So that was a bit of backwardation there. So the premiums completely disappeared into the close on the Friday. Nothing about this seems strong at the minute. Nothing about it seems strong. So any sort of upside potential over the weekend, I would probably classify as sort of weekend relief for those longers out there who are obviously then underwater, looking back up towards that 18,000. They want to look towards that 18,300-400 area. before perhaps even then regretting not having improved their position beforehand, then leveraging up again there at that point before ultimately being wiped out. Perhaps if we see continuation towards the downside, even the risky movements do happen in and around about these price points when we're looking down towards the 236 in there at 16.5 grand, and it just adds more fuel to the fire. And that's how, of course, market turnarounds can happen with regards to the overall market getting involved in the play. So hey, there we go. You want to watch out for that happening. Okay, you want to watch out for that happening. Now, there's a few other things that we can do as well to put all of this movements that we've seen recently into context, like diving down towards the medium time frame charts, where the Bollinger Bands here, and seeing on the 4 hour that we came down. We are tracking this towards the downside, haven't taken out the median line, obviously, because that's the 20 simple period moving average, and we know where that is. The 50 simple's right up there at the top end of the Bollinger Band. We could even retest this, having crossed over that, up there towards that 18,000, and still never regained the positivity so far. I think it's quite clear to say, that until such times as we're back up into the mid to high 19,000s on all charts, that you're looking at, of course, negativity remaining in the market. And that's why I've got this laid out in a traffic light system so far, really, where you're looking between these orange lines as our two main points. So that's 18.5 and down to 17.6. Up towards the blue lines and down towards this blue line are clear profit taking targets, where you might get inflections along the way before ever arriving at either of these two other lines here, which of course in and of themselves are distinct profit taking lines, but as well do offer up distinct pivot points and inflection points in the market where successfully traversing that area could lead to follow through. We're 22 minutes into the stream at the minute, and we started at about 8 minutes, so we've done about 12 minutes of TA on Bitcoin. Obviously, this is all live. Let's just then kind of, spice it up a little bit by diving down to the 15-minute time frame, taking a look at that real quick at what we've got on the go just here, just now, and ask, how things could be doing by the time we come back to looking at this earlier on. Does Rocky have a video on swing failures? Asking for a friend, says Susan Warrender. No, I actually don't have a video specifically talking about that. It's just been referenced several times in the past, which you probably were a member of the channel at the time to see that. But obviously it's just part and parcel of the delivery that I do on a daily basis. In terms of actually explaining it, maybe I don't have that. That's maybe something to think about adding to my education playlist. Thanks for the chit chat that's going on there between yourselves there as well. CME looks like it's going to close the week with a bearish engulfing candle, says. So maybe before we look at the 15-minute chart, we could take a quick look here at the CME's weekly chart here, since we are coming to a weekly. I would have gone to do the weekly stuff and all the rest of it later, but sure. I mean, yeah, unless we see the prices move back up above that 18, another $300 on the CMEs in the next few hours, we're definitely on the way towards doing that at the minute, with this satisfying move back into the Bollinger Band zone. And of course, looking at this in terms of the monthly time frame, we have a distance left to go. We probably see ourselves coming down to challenge the 16,500 area. In terms of what's the most likely thing that's happening, this speaks for itself and it speaks volumes. It's just this simple image right here on both the charts. I've been banging on about this obviously since November, so we're all very much clued in here as to why this is happening. If you don't see any other channels talking about it, and you don't see how this lines up with the blue line, that's profit taking line, with that Bollinger Band and everything else, then you're watching the wrong YouTube channels. But I don't know, maybe other people don't know these things, but it's inexcusable not to. So down towards the small time frames then, how are we getting along, ladies and gents? What's going on here right now with this one? We have this downward movement. We had a little bit of upward movement, which has resulted in this Adam and Eve double peak type pattern just developing there. That's questionable. It's obviously not falling on from an upward trend, so to speak. Really, it was only trending up from 11:30 until 3:45. So it's not like a super long trend in terms of this time frame, when you look at this one as being a downward trend, and overall it's downwards. I wouldn't say it's Adam and Eve quite based off of that. However, we do have, pardon me, a couple of clear areas that are coming in here with obvious confluence for us. So here right at this line, we've got our previous low area in there where we saw the close on the 15 minutes. We have the 50 simple, we have the edge of the Bollinger Band. If we start going down that way, then we'll be tracing that towards the downside quite, you know, easily, I suppose, with a degree of lubrication towards the downside. Of course, if we kind of, you know, consolidate here for a while, then we're looking for the prices to come back up and not take out our previous highs. So then let's, you know, talk about it from that point of view and say, if we do go past this area just here in the next wee while, then of course things could start to look quite good. What this is obviously a lower high overall, and what this is here most recently seems to be shaping up to be a higher low, which would give you the idea that maybe what we're looking at for the next wee while is something along these sorts of lines. So we'll have to see how this transpires, and indeed if there's any gestalt nature to it when we come back later on and see, did we draw this in as a sort of symmetrical triangle prematurely? Should we really have been looking at it more along these sorts of lines, you know, like that, etc, etc, etc. But let's leave that for just now, and we can come back and revisit this in a wee while. A couple of key things to point out since we are here and it's all there on chart and visible. We have the DMI showing us, oh, have I done something? I hope I've not done something wrong. What's this say? Timothy Bloomberg just subscribed. Oh, quality, nice to have you here. You'll see your name appearing below mine there on the old video screen thing. Great to have you, Jeremy. Nice to have you here. By the way, to everybody, welcome, Jeremy. Like, what we have is a tradition here on the channel, and somebody subscribes and it comes up saying their name. Give this Jeremy a character, a lovely warm Rocky Outcroptician, please, everybody all in the Rocky Outcroptician community there on the chat. Welcome, Jeremy. You may well have been watching the channel for quite a while, but it's nice to have you as a badge wearing member. Right, anyway, you could be looking at this in a number of different ways, and we'll come back to checking on this in the next wee while. Could we see volatility, and would that go along hand in hand with, you know, this consolidation of this period where we see tightening in the next 15 minutes? It sure could, buddy. And we also see that there's sort of the consolidation happening on the oscillators down below, and we have this volatility background coming in here to tell us that, you know, to be warned, this is the musical chairs, the music has started. When it stops, let's expect that volatility. And we also have this this sort of choppy pattern here with the crisscrossing happening naturally, as you'd expect. So everything's looking like that for the next wee while. What are the numbers where those two blue lines line up? You should be able to see them on your screen with these blue highlighted boxes. 17897, 18066. That's what we're looking at roughly for the 15-minute time frame chart. So, you know, movements down below 17.9 obviously come with a bit of a bitter aftertaste. Movements up above 18066 have that divine front of tongue sweetness about them, but of course these flavors can be short-lived. Let's just treat it like a pack of chewing gum, shall we? We might be spitting out that bubble gum in the not too distant future. We're going to jump on over now and take a look at Ethereum, and then we're going to move on to take a look at Chainlink Tezos, and then thanks to the suggestion of XRP is gold Steve, we'll be taking a look at XRP and XLM, which I guess isn't gold, right? But it's stars, and stars are made of... gold is made inside stars. Nice one. Yeah, good one. Jimothy Bloomberg. Not my name in any case, so it works for me, I suppose. So that was super nice. Not here for that, but you're great. You know what? Welcome, Jeremy. It's always great to have people. You know, obviously, I'm going to ask you to partake in that sort of friendly atmosphere the next time somebody else comes along. So hopefully, you know, you're gonna you know, give what you receive. We are seeing this weakness right now, by the way, in the 15-minute time frame. Worth pointing out that, you know, we're struggling to take out that area, and if we do move towards the downside, then this gestalt thing, which I've obviously been intimating about with regards to consolidation, could easily become like a more of a channel-esque type movement. Let's see if that happens, in which case maybe you're going to call this like a bull flag with this sort of flagpole on the left, and maybe we see some sort of movements, you know, flux around these zones. We'll have to see how that transpires. I'm not particularly bothered about predicting the future. Instead, I'm just trying to highlight some key and obvious risks for us so that we can come back and just kind of educational purposes, right? Jumping on then to Ethereum. In fact, here's Ethereum versus the Bitcoin, the digital currency. You know that thing? You might have heard of it. It's called cryptocurrency, and this is one versus the other, the daddy world of Bitcoin versus Ethereum. I don't want to look at this in the 15-minute time frame. I want to see if there's any trend to be aware of. Rate. So far, sustaining price movements above the 236. We're seeing this death cross having happened here, but with the relationship that the price has to the moving averages. Now, we're not seeing the moving averages cross over. Let's just have another sort of quick lesson here. That's what the 50 kind of looks like currently, right? And then we have, this is what the 200 looks like more or less currently, okay? I'm surprised with the accuracy of the way I've traced those, even though that's not. Anyway, that's what they look like right now, and the price is operating in here at that zone. So obviously they've crossed, and it's a death cross here on the 24-hour time frame. However, the price action's right next to it. Now that works in two ways. One of them is that, of course, we can both like sort of confirm, give this a wee tick, then confirm, and then of course, you know, traverse towards the downside. Then thereafterwards, or of course, you know, what could be taken into account is the actual position of the price itself being above those, and that by definition we're going to see an upward incline in both of these moving averages. Now the difference here really boils down to the fact that the 50 includes prices which have been, you know, moving towards the downside, and stops including these prices back over there. If I just take out the measuring stick and go from where we are at the current candle back 50 bars, right, you can see that this includes this area here, right? This is another one of these little educational snippets for the community. So you have this here, and this is obviously, all of these numbers are what account for the 50 period moving average lining up perfectly right now with the 236 Fibonacci retracement point, okay, giving us that nice confluence in there as a result of this movement here, which is purely the downward move, and then the subsequent rise up again thereafter as we came in with this slightly bullishly divergent low at that point and moved towards the top sides, okay? Whereas the 200 period moving average includes going back 200 periods, includes information from all the way back here before our rise up the way, okay? So it includes some stuff that's lower, and it includes some stuff that's higher, which means that, you know, we can look at this, right? We're allowed to. Right? This is within the rules of what you, as a human being who's a sovereign entity, is allowed to do, okay? So you're allowed to do this. The reason I say that is because a lot of people feel, especially who they're new to technical analysis, that somehow they're not allowed to use their own brain, and instead they have to outsource that to the wealth of experience that exists in the world. Well, of course, that's not really going to work really for you long term. I invite you to use your own cerebellum here. So just looking at this and saying that, you know, overall, if the prices do continue to move towards the top side, then of course this is going to drag the 50 moving average up very, very rapidly. In fact, just going sideways at this point, we'll see an incline in the 50 period moving average, and we want to take out our previous highs in there and move past the 50% point in terms of this Fibonacci and confirm this 236. We'll take out the 382 and take out the 50% area, and then we'd be putting in a higher high trending towards the top side. Everything would be gravy-licious, and this would have been some sort of bull flag or something like that, perhaps, you know, although it does actually line up with the same sort of mentality as what we were just getting at with regards to the Bitcoin pricing on the low term time frames. This is the 24-hour, of course, over here. Now that would be very, very good. Now we have moved past this point of support over there, and that's obviously, you know, not fantastic for things, but like that was never really real. Looking back the way, we can say that was obviously just kind of BS, and that we have that Gestalt image of the descending triangle on the go that we were talking about on the 15-minute Bitcoin chart here on the 24-hour Ethereum chart. Now what I'm doing by saying that is allowing you, and of course I reckon most people know this, is allowing you to link these two disparate things together for comparison's sake. That's all. Not because I'm saying what's happening on the 15-minute chart is going to be predictive of the 24-hour Ethereum chart. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just purely for contextual understanding of what's going on and how you can see these, how you can get the points that I'm making. Anyway, with the 200 simple period moving average, we still include areas that are down below. So we're going to see this continuing to move towards the top side really overall as a result of this being a higher low that we put in here. And this is, of course, each one of these are getting taken off as we move forward and replaced by a number which actually springs up towards the top side and gets bigger quicker, right? So this boils back down to the fact that we're right here now. If we were below in this area down below just here, and we saw the prices crossing as a result of the recent price action instead, and we were just in that area there and looking up the way, as you so often see the crosses happening in relation to the prices, you know, or whatever. This would mean that, of course, then that we're continuing to put in pressure to the downside on the 50 regardless of the recent past price history, because we'd be below it. So in effect, we're always adding negativity to it. That's implicit and inherent in the maths. Intrinsic, if you like. So that would obviously be happening, and the 200 would be happening like that, while we have no chance of taking out any of these periods here of where price action is higher. Whereas we are saved by the fact that the price action is currently operating above at least this period just here with regards to the 200, and this period just here, pardon me, and the 50. So we can see that there's a greater chance of this failing with result of the price being there. However, movements down past it give you a quicker confirmation of it. Okay, so after a cross, you want to look for that confirmation. That confirmation often takes form in a little bit of a counterintuitive move against the trend to go back up and retest them, or go back down and retest them. In this instance, the prices would be moving down to then test them as they went on past. Now, you might then see a retest of them after they go into the sandwich zone, you know, between the two lines, etc, etc, etc. So we know how these things can play out, but we're getting off on a negative footing unless we see immediate strength with regards to this. Now, how could this happen? This could happen in a number of ways. Well, mostly it would be the differential between the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're going to see Bitcoin prices either go down or go sideways or go up, while the Ethereum prices either go down slower or go sideways while Bitcoin goes down, or goes up while Bitcoin goes sideways, or goes up faster than Bitcoin goes up, essentially, is what you're needing to see happen here on this one. So what does Ethereum look like in that sense then? How does it seem to be performing? And I want to draw your eye to this weakness that's here again. It's the same story as the Bitcoin one. So I'm not massively enthused about the prospect of being able to get into a move on Ethereum where it flies up much faster than Bitcoin, or I'm not into a mood where I'm thinking it's going to go up and Bitcoin's going to go sideways, and I'm not in a mood where I'm thinking that there's greater degrees of positivity screaming out at me in that sense. So it's worth bearing in mind then, if you are trading between these pairs, how of course each one of them is performing individually, and that's obviously not an analog, it's a direct comparison to Ethereum Bitcoin pricing. But here on the Ethereum pair in itself, we've got all of the exact same setup as what we have with regards to the Bitcoin pricing. As you can see, this is the low that we spoke about with Bitcoin. I forgot to put a timestamp in there for people. What was it? We're going to say it's roughly 28 mins for ETC, ETH, BTC, roughly 35 mins for ETH USD. Okay, cool. Got that in the chat there. And by the way, thanks so much for joining us, Shivam, again. Thanks for joining us, Chris. Good to see you here, Brandon. Good to see everybody that is along for the journey today. That's good to have you all here. Right, anyway, so yeah, same story. This potential for hidden bullish divergence here. You know, jump down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see this bullish divergence here. Now, I haven't checked these charts before I started doing this analysis, so what it looks like to the casual viewer is that I've already done my homework, and I'm able to jump over to the Ethereum chart here, having looked at it before starting the live stream, and then said, oh look, there's this divergence here, I'll be sure to talk about them in the Bitcoin and Ethereum video and draw that comparison. No, not at all. It's just that this is just looking at the markets, right, and seeing it straight away, and then looking at it on the daily and seeing how similar those two charts are, and then being able to say in advance with 90% surety that that's movement that we've seen in the recent time towards the top side, away from the 200 simple period moving average here on the daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, is going to have that bullish divergence. It was really, really likely. Therefore, you can see then that they're obviously fairly working in lockstep at the minute. Whether that, in your opinion, increases or decreases your risk with regards to trading the Ethereum and Bitcoin pairing, I'll leave up to you to decide. However, I would say that probably overall decreases your risk, right? And that you would probably then be looking for movements away, divergences between the two price charts, and able to give you a better informed decision when trading on that other one. So I would look at it positively, but of course, it actually is a very, very easily debated subject matter. Now, of course, we could do various other things here to sort of try and see if there's any differentiation between Bitcoin and Ethereum, but honestly, there isn't. We came in here and hit the 618. We've done it again, double bottomed in this area almost, and then moved towards the top side with bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame in the face of what's clearly been a downward trend since the start of December, or the end of November, if you like, on the Ethereum chart here on the daily time frame. And we haven't managed to take out any significant movement targets towards the top side. If I just jump back down towards the small time frames, hit auto, bring this up full screen, remove the Fibonacci that we just put on there now, and then draw one in from the high that we had up here down to the low that we had over here. You can see that we've not taken it to 236 over there. Now again, this wasn't me that I'd drawn this out in advance. This was obvious to me just by looking at the price chart. And now of course, you know, that makes a lot of sense. And you can see this quite often on charts, you know, yourself in general when you're looking at things and asking to yourself, have we seen a significant enough of a retrace to actually start thinking about things in terms of things being positive? Have we seen that yet or not? And well, you know, it's quite obvious when you look at this that we clearly haven't gone up high enough yet for us to start saying that this is a really positive bottoming out formation in terms of this recent downward trend. It obviously hasn't. It's just obvious, right? Especially if you've been trading for a while. However, you can put that context on there very easily with that Fibonacci there by saying that we clearly haven't made it above the 236, and just eyeballing it, you could see that in advance, right? So, you know, no real magic to what we do here, and I hope that that rubs off on you and that you become that self-reliant independent trader. Now, there is something that I want to talk about beforehand. That there is one thing that I actually wanted to talk about with regards to the Bitcoin pricing, to the point that I almost wanted to put it on the video title for today, and you know, talk about it with regards to Ethereum and Bitcoin. And since we're not seeing anything different here, I'm going to take this point here in the Ethereum section of the video to go on and talk about this other thing which is affecting both Bitcoin and Ethereum right now in terms of the psychology in the market breaking past key areas in a way that maybe you might not have noticed, but you probably are familiar with from the bullish scenario on the way up. Okay, so in and around about that 10 grand area for Bitcoin, do you remember? We were talking about things like this idea of a bump and run pattern showing up on the charts, and we looked into the textbook about it. I brought up Bulkowski's textbook and we read about the bump and run pattern, all that stuff. Then, you know, we were doing all that back then in March. Let me just jump over to the Bitcoin chart so we can kind of, you know, review this. Not in March, but in that post-March incline, in it around about this area, and there was chat about bump and run patterns. Now, of course, in the end, you could look at this in several different ways and say that we ended up actually getting one, if you like. I was a little bit disparaging of it, mostly disparaging of it because it was, you know, a fairly rubbish way of looking at things in terms of this malaise over here. But this was the ultimate bump and run pattern that got set up for us in terms of the price action. Now, if you were watching different videos around about the time, what you would have seen was where is she? What you would have seen is was it that chat there? No, it wasn't. It was over here, right? What you would have I don't really care, actually. You would have seen this bump and run reversal pattern here. It didn't work out because, of course, there was no bump section unless you were to have drawn it in wrongly. So then you couldn't have predicted that this was the case in advance, yada, yada. And it just wasn't what Kevin Svensson was saying at the time, although ultimately it did work out to be. Same thing you could do over here as well, right, in terms of this pattern. And I think that, you know, going back to what the textbook actually talks about in terms of the regards to this pattern, how you should really think about it, it's not like it's this sort of home run hitting pattern, wow, pattern like harmonics and or like the head and shoulders and all this sort of jazz. What instead really is what you're looking at is trying to define a point where you could say, look, there is a chance here, you know, at this earlier point than just coming up to form one of those twin peak patterns, that we could start to see things run a wee bit quicker. And it might be slightly counterintuitive, but really in the broad sense of things, you can see how easily this happens when you look back in time. So let's just do that there. And you can see there was this head and shoulders drop down, and structurally what we were looking at the time was a head and shoulders that dropped down, got the full measured move off the back of the head and shoulders. We found this low that came in that was a higher low overall. We put in a lower high at this point just here in terms of you know, just at everything to the left of that, you know, at this point here when we're in this time zone and we hadn't seen any of this price action at that point. What you're saying is that this could easily be a lower high. If we take out our previous low, then we're going towards the downside. So you know, this would be a downward trending move, and then we would start to, you know, unless we actually break towards the top side, in which case if we do move towards the top side, we'll have undone all of the badness over here, retaken out the 50 simple moving average, which we broke down below here on the 24-hour time frame, etc, 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 and we're going up to an area where once again we've got very, very little liquidity up above us, and we also would have thrown off the shackles of the sort of the immediacy of filling in that CME gap. And that was the technical analysis, and that was the correct view at the time. But what you could have done was and what you can do now is you can kind of reframe all of that by saying, look, we experienced this bump and run pattern over here in this sort of a way, you know, where we came, we had a lead-in section of 2 touches here and a movement down the way. We had this basin overall, which could have, of course, become a cup with handle afterwards, because that's also part of the whole bump and run strategy type idea. And you're looking over here towards your main resistance area, where we ultimately did see inflection thereafter. But we got this bump off of the bar, we came back down, came up, and then we ran towards the top side, and that is the bump and run pattern. You can see it retrospectively, okay? So you can see it retrospectively there, and you can see it retrospectively here. Now, what you might be thinking, since I've talked about this in such a way, is that maybe I'm going to try and form out some idea over here and say that there could be a bump and run reversal pattern type idea, blah, 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 with regards to this movement towards the downside. And while sure, you probably could come up with these sorts of debates overall, it's very much too premature to do that. And as well, it doesn't make any sense, right? Because you don't identify patterns in advance like this. This isn't real. That would be BS. So if you were thinking that that's what I was going to do, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Alt and I on my keyboard, and I'm going to invert the chart. So this is the Bitcoin chart, and we can look at this as if we were running towards the downside in a bearish trend. And everybody there on the side of the world being like, we're going to all-time highs soon, is currently saying we're going to all-time lows soon, right? Or, you know, down under, we're going to break 3K. And does this not feel very similar to the situations as well that we've experienced in the past with regards to that price movement towards the downside? Well, it most certainly does. So how does this then line up with what we could be looking at? And if I just jump up a bit here in terms of time frames and go towards the 3-day time frame, for instance, and then take my measurements, undo this. Take this again. This by the way, all of this thought process comes from the school of you are free and encouraged, in fact, to use your own brains. Okay, right? Okay, you can become your own expert. That's totally something I 100% subscribe to and believe in, and I fully recommend that you do these things. Now, just try and obviously pin it back to something that's based in reality and the textbooks and everything else, you know, and try and think about things holistically. And doing things like flipping the chart and seeing what type of patterns there could be on there is just a way of doing that. You know, just a way of doing that. Exactly. So if we were to have some sort of lead-in period, you know, maybe you could be looking at it being down here, and again, this is somewhat absurd, but at least you've got a couple of touches on this thing, and you'd be looking for us to bump towards that side to go towards the top end again. Of course, that would be towards the downside, right? If I go down the way towards the lower time frames then as well and make that same point, but just put it on, you know, I wanted to get to this point anyway. This is the ultimate goal over here, but I wanted to kind of, you know, lead you into it, you know, like, or whatever. So I didn't really think this out. This is the sort of the thought process that occurred to me, you know, in 10 seconds when taking a wee. But I think that this could be quite beautifully enlightening for people, okay, with the way that I've structured it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I'll get over to reading them eventually. But the same chat then exists, and could we not make this argument in this way? Could we not say, in the sense that we had these 2 points there as our lead into it, and then we came up to this point here and we touched it and then moved away and then moved back through it again, that we could be starting the run process, in which case if you go up towards this area here where the blue line is, you could be looking at maybe some sort of inflection in the market at that point, when people are thinking, you know, we haven't put in a higher high, which would obviously be a lower low at this stage. We haven't done that yet. Maybe we're looking at a cup with handle and it's going to be a continuation pattern, or etc, 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 right? Now, of course, cup with handles don't work in this scenario, because what you have is, of course, it would be a reversal as opposed to a continuation, and cup with handles are continuation patterns. So that's not the case. You could also draw this in numerous different ways as well if you wanted to kind of force the issue, and I can put it onto log here as well and make it even more sort of beautiful, and talk about this coming up here. We bumped off of it. Do you want me to zoom in a bit more on the hourly time frame so you can get the message? Now, of course, do I think that this is the technical analysis for the day? Not really. All I'm trying to do is encourage you to think about things off, you know, from your own point of view. But you can do the same thing essentially over here with regards to Ethereum, in terms of looking at things in the same sort of a way. Now, this doesn't work out as the same with the bump and run, but you'll see that this is why I mentioned the cup with handle pattern here instead, in terms terms of what I was looking at before. So you've got this high and this high, that gives you a twin peak. You've got that area down the way that gives you this basin. You've got this dropping off and kind of coming up again during this price action with the volume down below. So you have all the key components. Then you have this, the twin peak movements down the way, and then you start to get a little bit tasty. So if we were to go down towards this area, that would actually be at that point too far, and you'd have broken the cup with handle pattern, which would be positive from the positive case, because this is the inverted chart, right? Yeah. So this is the inverted chart. But instead, if what you need to see happen would be for it to pick up again at the 50% point, right? So you'd be looking here and up to the high that we had there. 50% comes in at 556. So you'd want to see it turning around and coming in here no much lower than this 236 before moving around again, and then going towards the top side, in which case, of course, if the cup with handle pattern, which people so love during a bullish market, were to work out. Now, how could we have this statement being made? Well, we have this run up in price action beforehand in this zone over here where it was clearly moving up the way. This is the inverted chart if you're just joining us, so that actually means down the way. So you clearly have that, so it complies. What we also have is that the peaks here are higher than the peaks that we had in this period of time, which from the sort of textbook point of view, which is actually talking about it in terms of weeks, right, and days minimum, but whatever. Let's look at it on the 1 hour, because that's what people do. It complies with what we're looking at there as well. So everything complies fairly well. So you have that beautiful cup with handle pattern that people are so enamored with in bull markets all the time, and you would have a measured move of this thing taking you up the way. Now, of course, up the way in our sense means down the way. That puts you in at $506 in terms of that movement. In terms of the Bitcoin chart and what we were talking about with this, where is she? The bump with run pattern that was on a bigger time frame coming down here. Then you're looking at a movement up at the very least towards 16,500, quite easily onto 16,100. Do that, then you've got the full confirmation of the pattern. Let me just flip this back to the way it was before, go back again then, and just revisit with you real quick so that you can then do all of this analysis and not be forgetting about it, because I know what it's like, by the way, ladies and gentlemen of the Rocky Outcroptician community. I very much know what it's like. You listen to somebody talking about something for a while, you're going along the whole way thinking, yeah, I get what this guy's saying just now. Gets a bit more complicated. I still get what he's saying. Gets a bit more complicated. Still get what he's saying. Goes to the end. Says, do you get it then? And you go, right, okay. So I know what that's like very, very well. Let's just do that real quick then again. So you could look back in the past and find other bump with run patterns yourself and look for these sorts of ideas where you come up and you hit it, you move away again, you come up, you challenge it again, you find support at it, and you move towards the top side, and then you come in at where your previous highs was before you even really consider where the market could be going next. You do that then, and you do it here again. Like you have another one, you bump up towards the top side, you come in and you start thinking about where your previous highs were before you really start thinking about really anything else. At this point here, when we did move up the way, we took out of our previous highs. So at that point, we were able to think about anything else afterwards. Now, could we have something else evolve along the way to give us some beautiful price action towards the top side? Yes, we could. But would it be remiss of me to not point out what, in my eyes, is fairly obvious here on the lower term time frames on both of these coins when you look at the structure of what we've got going on the go between these things? So the 4-hour Bitcoin chart actually then, looks very much like that could obviously be the case. Let that 200 simple be your guide on your eyeballs for you. So that's cool. Okay, so anyway, now that was cool. I think that was unique on YouTube almost to a point, right? Where, the whole thing was delivered with love and care. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. We've done USD, Ethereum USD, we've done Ethereum Bitcoin, we've done the comparison, we've gone back the way. Now we'll take a look at Chainlink, right? Take a look at Chainlink, and then I'll join with yous in the chateth. We can see the prices currently in the USD pair are down there at 1170. We've moved past the parallel channel. We did find a lot of we did get a sort of put it on log, take it off log. It was previously whatever. You can see, obviously, we thought about things here for a bit, came back up and retested. It doesn't matter if you got it on log or linear. It really makes no difference in terms of this analysis here. And we've moved past the 50% point. Are we online to get in with what TradeSpotting is choosing to be his entry, as he's been talking about in the Discord, in around about 1033 or so? Well, I'd say that where we've come from now certainly puts us in that position. What do we hope to see with this low coming in versus this low? We certainly hope to see some bullish divergence, right? Then we we hope to see that we take out this 8-period exponential moving average at the very least, you know, maintain it for a while with a view to taking out prices at 1260, 90 cents up from where we are, if we don't want to see that. Okay, so if we don't get that medicine over the next few days, then look to these next points, right? Do we have it? Well, there is bullish divergence here between these lows. Yes, we are right here challenging the 8-period moving average. Is this the same technical analysis which we just did on Ethereum and Bitcoin? Yeah, that's what we're looking at, right? Same sort of scenario, but we have got this easy target now that we moved past that 50% point. You can see quite clearly here as well. Maybe you can't see it so as clearly as I can, but you could look at this in terms of being like a head and shoulders with regards to the price. Ow! Yeah, with the price movement in this section here. You could stick it on a different time frame if you wanted to have more clarity about it. Maybe the 6 hours would look a bit better or something like that. Maybe the 8 hours. It doesn't really matter. It's not even, it doesn't even care. Who cares about whether or not it's head and shoulders-y? What a head and shoulders boils down to, like any pattern in the world, are the components of it. So you've always got these components here. You're talking about, oh, I've identified one, but really it's this. Really it's this. It's this that's important right here. Everything else is just letting you know what you're getting yourself into. And what you're getting yourself into is the neckline, okay? That's what every single twin peak pattern operates like. Just flip this over, reverse it, and you can see that very much yet again you're asking the question. So do we have enough gusto in our sails here to move towards the top side? If you were looking at this as being some sort of cup with handle with your twin peak coming in here, moving towards the downside, I'd say that we didn't actually get the 50% movement there with towards the lower end. I'll just use go body to body to try and be as generous as possible with this one. No, we didn't make it, but we did have the resistance obviously of the channel below before going up the way. Then of course if we break that area, we could be looking to inclines, of course. Inclines meaning in this sense, because this is the inverted chart, everybody, means declines, and that could take you even as far as $8.80. So I would obviously still recommend to people who are looking towards these lower areas like the 618 Fibonacci to get in at 1033 to obviously manage their risk, and especially view this drop off in the VPVR here as being worth noting, being of interest, because when you put this chart back to normal, you can see how that all lines up very, very nicely, coming in here for, of course, a retest of this zone at down there. Now, if I just go to a different chart where maybe I can draw this out perfectly, what does this zone represent? What does this low here represent in terms of patterns if we were to see it coming back down here, okay? Now, I've told you this answer to this 100 times on the channel over the last year, but I'm going to just chuck it out there and see if anybody can guess what it is. Of course, as well, there's a 20-second delay between when I'm talking and when you actually type on the screen, so you know, you might not. I'm not going to hang around. You've had your chance now. Okay, that represents the target from an ascending broadening wedge. This low here would be the target of the ascending broadening wedge. Because how do you work out an ascending broadening wedge? Well, you take it from the you draw her up like that, right? Okay, then you draw her up like that. Okay, then you say their target is just there. Okay, easy peasy, Japanesey. That's the ascending broadening wedge. That's your target off of it. That's the sort of the textbook for you. It's just the extreme point at the beginning area of it is where you move to. You don't do measuring stick nonsense or any of that sort of jazz off the back of that. So that's what you'd be looking to, and that's how this obviously pans out. So we don't want this to become the ascending broadening wedge. That's what we've talked about enough times in the recent past. It's of no surprise to anybody. So I'm just going to stick the little timestamp things into the chit chat. We've got 50 mins in was Chainlink, good stuff, so it was 2 lol, and then 57 mins in is XTZ USD. Okay folks, so we're jumping over to XTZ USD. Let me know if that was in any way inadequate for you in terms of what you need for the weekend. I know there's various things that we should have probably said, such as of course the 618 coming in here at 1075 where you can see a turnaround at, and of course this pickup of the node of the VPVR. So obviously, you know, there's various different areas that you could be targeting, which I haven't even mentioned here, which stand out like a sore thumb on the charts, and we could consider this to be any movement outside of this ascending broadening wedge to be a fake out territory down towards that 618, you know, at the very least, before you start getting too enthusiastic about it. Okay, jumping on over to XTZ USD, the place to be if you like stuff. So here we are, and looking at this thing, right, okay, the target up above us, $2.25. That would be nice. The target down below that we don't want to break, $2. That would be awful. Then where we find ourselves, $2.10. Okay, you know, that's fine. The real target towards the top side, in terms of, you know, finishing off this downwards trend that we've been in, really, if you want to talk about it like that, since the 25th of November, if you want to talk about it like that, which you really should, since high, low, lower high, lower low, etc., comes in here at $2.41. Okay, there is the 236 here, which would be your first point, but I want to say that the $2.41 is what we need to be looking at for over the period of the next couple of days. We've seen some volatility with this thing, and I'd look towards the 382, movements up towards the 618 thereafter, if we do actually manage to capture that zone. I wouldn't get any more greedy than 266 on this one. We need to bear in mind a few things. This is the 8-hour chart. Let me go up towards the 24-hour chart here and bring back on our moving averages. Need to bear in mind a couple of things here. For instance, we're below the 50. We crossed over here in terms of negatively while the price was below it. Are you able to cast your mind back to the part during the Ethereum Bitcoin video where we talked about how the trend of the moving averages can cross and where in relation to the price when they cross, and how that can affect things, and how there could also be retests of those afterwards, and that would constitute confirmation? Do you remember that section? Are you looking for something that would maybe catalyze that in your memory? Maybe, for instance, an alternative comparison where it's not the same point of view, and at least you can get that round holistic picture and be able to remember things for the future. Do you want that? Okay then, here we go, let's do it then. So you can see that over here we crossed towards the death cross side on the 24-hour time frame, and the prices were below it. Counterintuitively, you quite often expect to see prices actually retest these moving averages in the immediate aftermath of a cross. So what you'll see is on this day over here, on the 7th of October, numerous people in the world of Chainlink saying, we're doomed, we're doomed. And then, of course, it kept crying that out as we saw the prices actually did drop down a tiny wee bit here the following day, from, you know, going from $2 a Tezos down to $1.97 a Tezos, and oh my goodness, the death was coming in. But then we went up and we retested the 50 simple moving average. Then of course we recaptured it. Then we tested the 200 period moving average there afterwards, but we're still in this negative trend. And if we look here, we can see that we're sandwiched between the two, and surely you can kind of make that nice comparison yourself there with regards to obviously seeing this cross while we're positioned as such, and what the next potential price movements of that nature could have been. And if we were to jump back over then towards the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, having watched this entire episode and knowing what we were talking about there, you might have some ideas about how this is obviously a very different situation, whilst of course in terms of the headlines on the newspaper articles would say death cross on Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, right? That's what they'd say. Then they'd say, of course, negativity coming in immediately, and of course, just like they did over here on the Tezos pairing, where they said death cross on this, negativity coming in immediately. Of course, that wasn't what actually happened, and that's not how TA actually works, and nobody who really has spent years doing this actually talks about things in that way. So, little clue for you if you're looking at people on the reading articles or whatever, what people are saying with regards to whether or not they're actually more qualified as a journalist than they are as a technical analyst. Looking towards the top side, then we obviously want to be taking out the 218 area where we find the 50 simple moving average, but you can see that the EMA here, the 8 period EMA, is lining up with that perfectly as well, or more or less will be over the next couple of days. So we can just use that as an analog anyway, because we know that if we're above the 8 period here in the next couple of days, then of course we're above the 50 as well, and then of course we're in the sandwich zone here, and we want to see things moving towards the top side. Now on this downward movement, we got bullish divergence, moved in here, we came in, we didn't get bearish divergence at the top. Overall, we've put in a higher low. This period here is actually the low. This wasn't a low, this was flux between. This wasn't a lower high. That's BS. That's technical analysis done by morons, or simply just looking on the 15-minute chart, in which case, you know, fair enough, because on the 15-minute chart it most certainly would have been a lower high, as you can see over there, and then we trended towards the downside, and you'd have been able to trade that very well. But when you look up towards the larger time frames, it's kind of a bit moronic to talk about things in that way, and instead this is our low over here, and we haven't taken out by virtue of the fact that we're remaining above $2, and that is your weekend's analysis for Tezos. Okay, so at this point here, I'm going to dive back over to the chart now. Of course, again, I know I could have done a million different things with this, right? I know I could have done a million different things, but I'm wanting to make simple points simply so that people can feel them. What do you want to, do you want to do anything like what we did on the other charts there in terms of the inverted chart to talk about how this is going? Maybe people would benefit from this or enjoy it, at least having probably never really seen this done by any TA on YouTube for Tezos before. So let's just do it, right? Looking at this has clearly been like this long upward trend, right? It's got these extreme movements towards the upper and lower side, and of course, you know, trends certainly are your friend with regards to this coin. Coming in here March the 12th, you know, trending towards the top side until August. Nice move. Then from August trending towards the downside until October, you know, nice move and all that good stuff. How does that actually look if you invert it? Well, you know, this does not look like a good chart. It doesn't look good, but it looks like it could potentially be coming in with a bottom. Now, of course, we have the bullish divergence, which is obviously bearish, you know, in that sense, because I've just flipped this. And we have this bullish divergence here between these two lows, and that's brought us up to this point here. But until such times as we actually take out this high, which is a low, because like I say, this is the inverted chart, down there at 135, then we haven't actually managed to turn it around on the macro point of view. And really, we've just had the burn off from this. Looking at it between the highs and lows in terms of the Fibonacci retracement points as well, you can see that we've come in here and not managed to take out the 786, haven't put in a head and shoulders really in around about where we find the 618, and then of course got a measured move off the back of that, which tested this 200 simple period moving average, and perhaps, you know, we could be testing that again. And if we did test that again, then in terms of the overall downward trend that, which, you know, where we've been in, which is, again, if you're just joining us, the upward trend, because this is the inverted Tezos chart, you'd be saying that if this head and shoulders area in general plays out and we take out the 200 simple towards the downside, that we have got more negativity in store for us. Just this one example of this divergence here isn't good enough for us to stop, you know, believing that in that sense. And if you want to have another comparison point then to talk about how that could be the case and how these things would look, we can dive back over towards the Bitcoin charts yet again to give you another example of the same sort of thing. This is the 24-hour inverted Bitcoin chart. I don't want that up like that. Oops, pushed the wrong button. Go back, right? And on the 24-hour time frame, and you're looking between, say, where did we have some of it, for example? Between here and here, here and here, at this point here, you know, we were looking at it and saying, oh, look, there's this divergence or whatever. Now, of course, if this were to turn the bearish divergence, we can see between these 2 points just here, and then of course we burnt on through it anyway and went on past it anyway up towards the highs that we're at anyway, you know. So you could make various, it's only a warning sign is all I'm saying. And right now we've satisfied the sort of what would be needed to be satisfied from that point of view. So overall, we can actually remain fairly sort of consistently happy with the overall performance of this coin, providing we don't go past those key areas, and they are right here with us now. $2 is what we're looking to in that sense. Now moving towards the top side, 225. That's your Tezos technical analysis for the weekend, and of course the basically December and the end of the year. Cool. So there was a couple of suggestions earlier on. I'm going to come back in here and catch up with y'all in the chat. It's good to see how people are chatting away. Nice to see. Oh, happy Australia Day, Lee. Oh, Australia Day. Oh, I used to love to go out to rubbish Australian bars like Bar Oz and the like on Australia Day and get served by Australian expats working in the bar, and everybody would have such a great day. Australians love Australia Day for some reason. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's their distinct hate of foreigners. Just kidding. By the way, actually, funnily enough, me saying that only sounds racist about Australians to people who aren't from Australia. Every Australian hearing me say that was like, probably like, yeah, funny, you know? So don't worry about that. Cool. So what's the chat really been? I deleted that guy earlier on. We all had a laugh about it. That was good. We talked about the weekly close on the CME for a second as well. We talked about swing failures and all that stuff. So that's cool. But then we welcomed Jimothy to the chat. That was excellent. Then we had people kind of just saying hello and all that good stuff. That's great. Chris White talking about how he sold at 7.7 airdrop, but don't see it being for the masses. They already think they pay too much on exchanges paying less than 1%. Yeah, I know, it's funny that the amount people are willing to pay in terms of fees. But there you go. In fact, lots of them are free. And some of them even give you a rebate. Joke. Rocky might check it out though. Yeah. I'm going to check out XRP and all that. White. Oh wait, no. What did you say? White, please. No, you were asking for a coin then. Zero. iRecon. Is that the coin? iRecon. I reckon. Zero. Chris, where else are we talking here? Well, we'll have to come back into the more modern chat to the more modern chat, whatever, the latest chat to tell me that. Good to have you here, Davoricus. Good to have you here, Navanethan. I didn't give you a shout out quite yet. I'd maybe give you one, Brandon. I'm not sure. Good to see you here, Garden Prophet. Lovely to have you all joining us again for the live stream. And I'd love it if you all hit the like button. Right, cool, nice one. So anyway, I think there's been a lot of value in terms of what people have been able to learn from this episode so far. Let's take a brief look at the Ripple coin XRP to the USD. We've come down past the 236. This isn't actually lined up properly. Let me just draw this in properly. Must have done it in a hurry before. There's this other one here as well in the background. I'll just remove that because I don't even know what it is. Yeah, so we've come down past the 236 over here. We didn't go on the upside with divergence. We're going up towards the top side and managed to put in this top here without divergence, as you'd expect, seeing the ludicrous run towards the top side that there was. But we didn't actually come in with immediate divergence thereafter, you know, either, funnily enough. Looking at this, you can see that right the way up here, we managed to continually push these things towards the top side. So that was really healthy move for Ripple. And of course we've, oh wait, what's the time here? 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 hour 7 minutes, 1 hour 7 mins for Ripple. So that's been really, really good. You know, we're obviously in an upward trend. In terms of the retracement, we have gone past the 236, you know, and that obviously means something in itself. We've got some confusing lines on the chart there, so just getting rid of them. And we've come down, we've tested the 382. Now, so far, we've managed to find support at it and move towards the top side, although you can quite clearly see the structure that you have on the go here. Now, you could name it whatever way you want, and I've been quite clear about not needing to care about what you name things in the world of technical analysis, since the names are mostly invented by morons in the first place, let's be honest. But you could call this a descending triangle, or you could indeed as well just kind of look at it with the general sort of structure here of this as being your neckline in any sort of twin to triple peak pattern, or any of that sort of jazz. It really doesn't make too much of a bollocks and difference. If you look down below that, past that point, then where would we expect to see the prices? Well, so if 52 fails, we could easily be looking to 44. If we draw in a measuring move here, measuring stick move, then obviously that actually takes you all the way down to the golden pocket, as you could obviously tell. So you not only would you be looking down to 44, but you could be looking down as far as 36. So what you have in between times is the 50 simple period moving average. If we were to do any of this, then obviously from a bigger, broader time frame perspective, that simply represents a higher low. So we've had a dramatic movement towards the top side. It was very much parabolic in its nature over those few days. Then we've gone towards the downside, and we need to see this failing some of the negative patterns. Okay, we need to see it failing them. We need to see things like, for instance, this cross, this negative cross we found on the DMI, which is very much a bad thing to be saying on this chat. Very bad. So this would need to fail, okay? Right, this movement that we've had that's just come in here as being like a head and shoulders on the RSI, depending on where you want to draw the head and shoulders in, doesn't really matter. We've had one from here that played out, or we've got one from here that's yet to play out. We need to see these ideas fail, and the neutral line, if we're called upon to operate as support, we need that to happen. Otherwise, things do start to look fairly stinky, and these movements down the way represent nearly 50% off the price. Or what is it it would represent? We're talking about huge amounts, like 40% off the price, somewhere between 30 and 40% off the price if you were to do that. So obviously that'd be catastrophic for 9 out of 10 traders, right? So that's why that would be bad. But in the overall face of things, you'd still say that woohoo, we're in an upward trend for Ripple, and of course we are. So I would be wary about that. And as you can see, the volatility is obviously kicking back in. On the weekly time frame, we're coming in here, we haven't put any higher lows for ages. Where's that going to happen? So it could happen here. Now it could happen at any point, but if it were to happen here, what would that look like? Well, not like it's really got that happen for a reason. Looking back over to the left, there isn't much of one. There's this inflection point here and here. Well, suppose there is one. You could say this is a right on one, but we're a little bit, yeah, we're right on one at the minute. So there is the chance, you know, if we want to see things turn around, there is the chance that it could happen, right? And it would happen from here, perhaps, right? If not, then we're going back down to visit that 382 at the least, you know, down there at sort of 56, which is a solid 1 penny off the price. But, you know, if not, that's where it would be. We need to see this operate as support for us. If we don't see that happening, then obviously we're moving towards the downside. What is there between this little bit on the left, really, where we have this wick, this inflection here, this one here, this one here, this one here? What else is there, you know, when you're looking down the way, and it only lines up again with these Fibonacci retracement points we've already discussed? So you're only really seeing anything coming in again at 44 and then 36 thereafter in that there. So that's your technical analysis on that one, really. Obviously in an upward trend, but this of course doesn't actually even have to act irrationally for you to lose your solvency during this trend. In terms of how much that's going to actually operate as your friend, I couldn't tell you. In terms of the 1 hour time frame, if you're looking for a trend therefore, then actually over there since the 24th of November we've been in a downward trend overall. Well, actually maybe not, given that we've not taken out this low yet, but you know, we've certainly been trending towards the downside side since the 30th of November, and doing it largely without divergence. So, you know, nothing really looks all that good. But of course, could it start looking good? Yeah, it could. It could start looking good. We need to take out, we need to maintain 56, take out these previous areas. We really need to take out the highs of this. We need to take out that 236. That comes in perfectly with this little head and shoulders movement here. You can see the shoulder, the head, the shoulder, the breakdown, the measured move, bringing us down there. The resurgence, not taking us back past our shoulder, moving on down the way, forming this downward trend, having this potentially descending, broadening wedge on the go. You'll remember then, if you're looking at this in terms of that sense, this is obviously very low time frame stuff, but if you were looking at it in that sense, if this isn't going to be a channel for you, which it really kind of could / should be, I don't know, then, you know, the target for that obviously comes in at that 45 area, for instance. Towards the top side, you're looking up towards this area where you let's make it like that instead for the crack, right? Let's just do it like that so it actually narrows slightly. See, it's really, it doesn't, you have to force it in. What about log? It's nicer on log, isn't it? That's kind of a wick there as well, so just wicked outside of it at that point. If I use bodies, I can get away with this. Cool, yeah, sound. So that's what we're looking at there overall on this one. Sort of taking out 58 and moving up into the 60s gives us a chance of that 63 area. 63 needs to happen, taking out the head and shoulders area over here for us to get past any of the recent sort of liquidity in the market, which is everywhere between the blue serrated line and that green line. Movements towards the downside, taking out 52, very much negative, could be looking down towards as far as 45. If I wanted to have any saving grace come in here, it would try and pick in the price at around about 49 or so. Gives you easy to manage risk longs and shorts and everything all around this area. Really, in terms of the movements that we're seeing here, you can see that any given inflection point, if you want to talk about another thing that I never really talk about much, so here's another lesson for people today. You know, just think about things rationally. You're allowed to think about things rationally. Believe me, you are. If you were to take this here, clone it, this top line, and clone it, and talk about the areas where, you know, you come up here and we've seen the majority of the bodies closing, and then we've seen these wicks going up past it. Structurally, since the 24th of November, on the hourly chart, you're looking at a difference between 57.3 and 58.9. So any given time, really, you're looking at a difference of, say, sort of around about 2.5%. So if you were to put your stop in around about, you know, any of these, it doesn't even need to be, you know, you can talk. I hope you get the point that I'm trying to make, that I can't really be bothered even finishing my sentence for. But you can, in terms of managing your risk, you're looking at in terms of the movements that you get whenever it actually does move versus the periods when it's inflecting, and your risk tolerance at any of these zones as being minimal versus where you are. So you can just manage your positions wisely, right? Right towards either direction, and obviously getting in, you know, here and here and here and here for moves that then, you know, hoping for it to go up or hoping for it to go down or hoping for it to go up, were really kind of a little bit dumb, right? But then movements in those areas, actually hoping for it to go back, go up there, go down there, follow it through, was not so dumb. And what you're looking at in terms of the reward is 13%, and that just adds up, you know, 2 to 3% risk, for a potential 10 to 13% gain. That's 5 to 1. I mean, how much of a genius does it really take to be able to start to fit these things together? You know, I don't think it takes a very big one. I think that, you know, I'll hammer into your heads over time, okay? I'll hammer in there, don't worry about it. There's your XRP technical analysis. I hope that's somewhat interesting for you, buddy. I hope it's at least something interesting, because if it isn't, then don't know what to tell you. But I agree with you, it's gold, right? Looking towards this one then, this is of course XLM, the stellars, the stellar mabobs, the stellar bobbies. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, we're kind of seeing this structure here where you have this low coming in with this downward slope there. That's not ideal. What's it look like on the 24 hour time frame? Not ideal. Is this the same story as what we're looking at with regards to Ripple? I would say it is. It's exactly the same story. Depends on where you want to draw that in from. Take it from our previous low before the actual jump up. 618 has almost been hit, but not quite. This is kind of looking like it, like, you know, more negative than Ripple, but then is it giving us a little insight into how Ripple could perform over the next wee while? Maybe. Is this a bear flag? It could be. That would be your most positive case scenario for you, or a bull flag. Sorry, this would be a bull flag. I mean, sure, it could be. That would be your flagpole, and we already mentioned that in terms of the Ripple pricing. So, you know, you could be just sort of as a casual glance looking up. This is log. If you're wondering why that shrank so quickly, then it's because it was on log. You know, so down here that is that length, up here that is that length on linear. Log, however, you know, because we're talking about dramatic differences in prices, up here it looks like that, down here it looks like that, you know, it's ridiculous. Okay, so towards the top side then you're looking in terms of like 32. If you did get a movement outside of that, I think that would be kind of generous, to be perfectly honest with you. 26 would be far more realistic. And you know, you're still talking about a 20% difference between there, where you've got the flexibility to trade however your heart desires. Let's stick on the moving averages and then the Bollinger Bands, and I'm no doubt you could be able to translate what I've said on one chart to the other in terms of what you're looking for here with this one. There isn't a 200 period movement average on this. Why is that? Should easily be. XLM's been out for more than 200 days. XLM USDT. There we go, that's better. In terms of where I drew this in before, yeah, the 618 actually comes in down there towards 9.8 to 10 cents. That's where I'd be looking for if we see continuation, which we've so far had, i.e. if this doesn't perform as a bull flag, which it could do. There's plenty of risk to reward moves that you could use in this area very easily. I'm not sure which way around that was. I can't really be bothered looking at it. Here you can see golden cross overall, not tested this. If we did come down and test the 50 period moving average, that would put us in at 12-13 cents or so over the next week or two, or a few days, maybe even, you know, could even happen over the weekend. If we were to come down and test the 200 simple, that would put us in at the golden pocket. So both of these Fibonacci lines, which are of course significant, are rapidly being approached by these two moving averages just here in terms of if they wanted to test them post cross. Okay, it doesn't need to test both of them, certainly doesn't. Looking over here, we saw a test of where we saw a golden cross. We did come in and test the 50, go on for higher highs, then come back, test the 50 yet again, and then test the 200. So what if we came in here, tested this, went for higher highs, and came in and then tested the 200 thereafter? Could that make sense? Yes, it could. Huge amounts of trading to be done in the meantime, but that's incredibly speculative. I just wanted to point out the fact that you don't need to see things cascade necessarily upon towards the downside. Now, am I bearish on this? Most certainly not. Yo, don't want to be seen, don't take me wrongly or whatever. We have this upward sloping trend line, so I can say that I'm bullish on this right up until the prices go there, which is in effect saying that I can say that I'm bullish on this until I've seen a 43% movement in price. Does that make any sense to you? No. So instead, I'm not going to try and impose a bias onto these charts, and that's what this is. This is this FOMO-free, bias-free technical analysis, and that's how you can make those statements. So am I bearish on this one? It's a funny one, that, isn't it? It's a hard one to answer. This has got this channel towards the top side. Cut it, shape it, drop it, sniff it, smack it, whatever way you want. I don't particularly care. You could even classify this as being some sort of ascending, broadening thing. Again, like I say, don't particularly care. It makes no difference really. It really ultimately doesn't, because what you're talking about is resistance and support lines on a diagonal basis, and that's all that is. Don't make things more complicated on yourself than they have to be, in which case, you know, you're looking between either of these zones. If we see a turnaround at 10, if we get a movement down the way, oh boy, what a good buy that would be, with the potential for tripling your money, getting a 300% move, you know, up towards the top side, 3x in terms of spot trading, and that would be insane. So am I bearish on this one? Hard question to answer, because what we're doing right now is living within a bull flag of a movement towards the top side, which is really weak and looks like it could easily capitulate. That's what we're looking at. Okay, so okay, cool, nice one. I'm going to check in with the chat here and see. KDoc says he concurs with TradeSpawn. TradeSpawn said we should have a drinking stream. Okay, cool, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll get a couple of bottles of wine and we'll drink them on stream sometime. When do you want to do that? Let me know in the comments when you want to do that. Everybody gets to get drunk, of course. Susan Warner says that she's going to drink wine and smoke cigarettes by the looks of those emojis. You guys drink, I'll be puffin. That's right, Navanethan also smokes cigarettes. That's what they're talking about there, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know what puffin means, or what Susan Warner was implying with that funny looking stick with the red bit on the end. They're talking about cigarettes, okay? Definitely not anything else. Looking up towards the chat here, mystery deepens. We see TradeSpawn said earlier on, floods in New Zealand, said KDoc. Davoricus says, when you are so deep in the analysis, I have to check if your chart is inverted. Lol. I did try to give everybody kind of heads up about that as we went along. Cool. Is it opposite day? Yeah, it was kind of. I suppose you could say that the day was opposite day. It was the analysis for everything tied together, right? From watching, if you watch this the whole way through, I think that you can take elements from every single thing to enhance every next chart that we looked at, and then at that point go back and do it all again yourself on your own charts on your computer, and have these rough ideas about the padded bumper lanes for throughout the weekend for knowing where the prices could be operating at. And I think that positions you in the best way to be able to use your own knowledge and combine it with this to actually become a self-reliant and consistently profitable, which is key trader. Of course Navanethan comes in and leaves no doubt on the table. Weed cigarettes, he says. It's legal in Canada. Yeah, totally. Have a good time, man. Enjoy it, of course. Cut it, shape it, drop it, sniff it, smack it. Sounds fun. Yeah, I was trying to put those white lines on the chart and make some sort of reference there, but of course it ended up sounding fun. Cool. So we did the coin. Now there was a coin that somebody else said that they wanted. They said, if you ask, getting a good laugh out of Navanethan there. If we laugh in the if somebody can remind me or tell me what it was, because somebody said if you ask, then I'm sure he'll take a look at it for you and whatnot. I'm sure there was a coin somebody wanted to take a look at earlier on. And it could even be from the XMR that Susan was talking about. But it was Chris White said something. Trying to figure out what it was. I'm with Chris White, says TradeSpawn. Where's Chris White? Chris White. Am I just being blind, people? Let me know. It was Cardano that he was talking about. I'm going to go with what Navanethan says, and we'll take a look at Cardano. Unless, that's just what you're saying. Oh, it was Uni, but he's gone now. Ah, right. Sure, I'll do Uni, right? Just in case he comes back. Unipole. I'll do Uni just in case he comes back. Come back to me. Come back. Well, we all know about Uni already. This is wild. It's been a wild ride, right? We've got a few things that we've talked about so far in terms of the charting on other coins. You got this crossover here. See, the current prices are below it, so we are going to see this malaise continue unless we see a sudden resurgence of the price back past 350. Is that possible? Certainly is in the grand scheme of things. Looking between these 2 points here and seeing where that low comes in at that we're just experiencing now, you can see that it is in at the 50%, almost got the 618. We've almost done enough in terms of you know, being able to come back up here, having had a retracement against this move. Do we have hidden bullish divergence to shout out? No, we don't. Not on that one. It doesn't look like, and certainly doesn't look like it on the DMI. Either. No, we certainly don't. And on the MACD, are we seeing it tightening? Yes, we are. We're seeing this upward slope on the MACD here, more or less, this downward slope over here, giving me that feeling that there could be a little bit of a wedge on the go in this particular section. Yeah, this low, this low, this low, this high, this high, this high. You can see the tightening of it as well. Maybe you can't initially, but you certainly will whenever I draw in our little markers around it here for us, ladies and gents. So yeah, could we have this as being a sort of shocking wedge for us? Yeah, we could, you know, and it could look back to coming back in here. And what would that give you? Well, that would give you a retest of both of those moving averages. So in the meantime, just to broaden things out and stick with all of the chat that we've had recently, what I would say in this is that we're in a downward trend in terms of the smaller term time frames. We have got a head and shoulders in here, you know, sort of idea, and here this sort of neckline idea with a sort of measured move thing having already kind of happened ish. That was probably shaped badly, but you get the point. And we could see a little bit more downside. We're not seeing any bullish divergence coming in on this, so it looks fairly weak at the minute. We have got this cross, so we could have the counterintuitive resurgence in price to it's not counterintuitive though, eh? I mean, when I talk about it so often, it loses all of that counterintuitive nature, right? Doesn't it? It should do. So it's not counterintuitive at all. But you can imagine how the markets and how retail traders in general would feel about something like that. They'd be like, what's going on? I don't understand this. There's no reason for it. You know. So that's, I guess, the process of learning. Now, that wedge chat that we had there now, of course, can be extended out quite easily here to the broader perspective, taking in our recent highs and looking at this. Now, either way you cut it, both of them have got a positive outcome for us. If we did do this and come up with this small wedge, test this area, and then come back down again thereafter, then go up, you could be looking at that. But, of course, maybe this tight, sharp wedge gives us the impetus to go up here, test this, and then move towards the top side, undoing that death cross. Now, failure to undo so after having touched that, I'd think that then we'd have to consider, you know, whether or not this pattern here would play out textbook or not, and we could maybe then think about whether or not we have to take it off log and use the bodies here. No, there's no channel to be made. It's just a wedge, no matter what way you look at that, really, overall, in the right-hand side of a head and shoulders. Now, of course, that could obviously pan out to be disappointing for folk. In terms of the broad picture, then, we've got these highs that we had. Not going to count any of the bullshit in terms of the wicks here, just going to kind of take it from there and look down the way. Say that, of course, right now what we're doing is testing this 236. It's coming in at around about where we find that 8-period moving average. Of course, movements past then do give us the breakout from the lines of the wedge. So that's why you would see that moving towards the top side. If you want a reason, which I don't think anybody really cares about reasons, but there you'd have one towards that movement towards the top side if you were looking for that. And of course, you'd be invalidating this Fibonacci, validating it and looking towards potential higher targets, having never taken out anything like the 50% or any of that before. Currently, as that stands, it's invalid. However, and we could be looking towards, of course, coming in and shaking things out. How do I feel about this right now? Negative trend, potential for things to move around to the top side in terms of patterns. What we're seeing here is, of course, that this is very much negatively positioned too. This is in that stage where in a day or two it could look like it's massively turned around, or indeed it could just continue to go towards the top side. Is there easy examples of this? Yeah, I mean, there's this here, how it looked like this, and then it looked like it was turning around and even came in for a cross before going on for higher highs. So I guess, you know, what I'm trying to get at is that we're in the tentative stages here at this point to be able to say, you know, maybe we are seeing the weakness come back into this downward trend, i.e. the potential for positive strength, given that the ADX is remaining above 20, above 10. You know, we're not looking like we need to consolidate so much, you know, and go sideways and figure things out. Kind of like want to keep moving one way or the other, and I'd feel like that's pretty decent. We've got a wedge over here in the RSI as well. Depends on obviously how you particularly want to draw this in, but you're seeing all of these things kind of coming together. If we see ours taking out the top end of that in terms of the resistance, good. Take out the lower end of it in terms of support, bad. And then that's all done on the 4-hour time frame, by the way. 24-hour time frame, don't have the 200 simple, can't do that. We don't have that death cross happening yet. We're below the 50 simple though. You know, we can see how we've kind of moved past this clear neckline area currently. We're in the liquidity zone for it. Have we actually failed quite yet? No, we haven't. Do we have a strength of trend? Not yet. We could get one. I'd look out for these things. Movements down past there. Obviously, risk becomes fairly intolerable. If you're trading with the trend at the minute, then you're looking for shorts in terms of this section really since the 23rd of November. If you're trading with the trend and saying that this is an upward trend, you're looking for where is our higher low going to come in at. Bearing in mind, of course, that we have this entire zone here, as anything within that would simply constitute a higher low overall, and movements down past that zone could see us coming back down to that $2 region. $2 probably is a psychological level for support. In terms of looking and putting one horizontal on the line on the chart here, I would say that perhaps the area to look to in terms of just being really, in terms of your next potential target for an entry, could be down there at 264. Obviously another 10% off the prices. Nobody wants to see it, but it could happen. The risk is there for that to happen. Getting in right now, it doesn't offer up an ideal position for you unless you're actually managing to construct this idea yourself somewhere else, in which case it's fine, all power to you. We have this movement here which doesn't look great. Still, this is just downwards. At the very least, you need to take out $3.05 before I would look for a move up towards 315. Risk to reward opportunities in terms of the movements that you've got are much lower in terms of these smaller time frames. But if you were looking for a short right now, then at this price of 320 could be your best entry for you in terms of that one. So that's both sides of the coin. Coolly schmooly. Bitcoin is attempting a fake or break out of our 50-minute chart. Is it, buddy? Thanks for giving me a shout out on that one, Dvoricus. What chart did I put it on? I need to go find my chart for this one. I think it was over here. Look at it. It's doing it. It's trying it. Oops. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, sweet. Nice one. So it is. It's moved outside of our triangle so far. That's cool. So what are we looking at here? Are we going to get a measured move off the back of this? Or are we going to find fake out territory coming into that 200 simple? Well, I would expect, of course, some degree of thought to be put in with the price action, and the relevant parties in and around about that area. But let's just give the measured move thing the chat for the chat. Okay, so cool. So we could be looking up to 18,290 if we get a real good move off of this. Fake out territory, or sort of, of this, if we want to call it fake out territory, it's got 2 points, one of which we're at right now. So like you said, Devarkas, it was attempting. It really, we haven't done anything until we've moved past that line in terms of it being a fake out for us, obviously. So I'm just putting in this little green line here because that's where our previous highs were and everything else. And until such times as you do that, then what you're putting in here is some sort of like it's that W type pattern, as people so fondly call them these days so often. And you'd be looking at this area. So if we do see it sliding back down the way, look out for support coming in here at where our previous resistance line was. Of course, where we have this blue serrated line as well because of the timing of the thing. And then perhaps movements towards the top side. But if we did get a move off the back of this as a pattern, it's not drastically different to this extreme measured move of the triangle, and you're looking up towards 18,228. That's cool. In terms of risk to reward, whatever, let's just see how y'all doing it. How y'all doing there? Still time for 24k, says KDoc. You're right, this is it. And the measured move, let's shall we try and find something that could reasonably, that we could shove into this 24-hour, what did I remove there? That we could shove into KDoc's 24-hour chit chat. Is there something that we could do that could reasonably get us there? Could we draw in a wedge? Yeah. We could draw in a wedge, right? So what we'll do is we'll do it. KDoc, we're doing it, KDoc. Don't worry, we're doing it. We'll take it from all the way over there. Right, there's our downward side line. We've got this kind of upward side line here, right? Cool. We're all with it here. If we get the measured move off of this symmetrical triangle, right? KDoc, cool. Okay, it puts us in the prime position to be breaking out of this wedge. Now, of course, the measured move off of this wedge is grotesque and could take us all the way up to a target of 19,450. Still not within touching distance of what we need. Let's expand this out a bit. Come on, confirmation bias TA. We can do this. We just need some more confirmation bias. That's all we need is some confirmation bias. If you want to chip in with FOMO, that would be really useful. I struggle when it comes to FOMO myself. So we need to stretch this out a bit. We need a bigger move, right? We need a bigger move. It's just not so great on that one. Okay, let's revert it. Let's revert it. Right. Let's take that as the let's go for a bullish type structure on this one for KDOC. We're doing it for KDOC, everyone. We're taking these last 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Right. Great. We've got that, and we've got this on the go. So we've had our measured move from the other one, right? And it takes us up as high as this. So we need to break out of something over here to get up higher. This wedge here, we're not really in breaking distance of it because of that bloody all-time high. So inconvenient, that all-time high. So that's not going to work. If I stick it on log, can I get away with something else? No, I can't. So we're going to have to look towards this triangle here. Beautiful. So we take your measured move off of the bigger wedge, right, and it takes us all the way up to 19,500, which is cool because it puts us in the fake out territory where we have that blue straighted line. That'd clearly be the fake out territory from this if it's a symmetrical triangle, right? So we have another measured. We're getting there, KDOC. We're getting there. I'm going to get us there. Don't worry about it, KDOC. We're getting to 24k. Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it now. What have we got? 21,500. Fuck. Why did you have to say 24k, man? Why could you not have said 21,500? Okay, so what do we have? Well, how can we get to 24k? What do we need to do to get to 24k? I think at this point we're going to have to say that if we move up to this area, we've taken out our highs, right? So at this stage, we could be looking to a movement between the up to the fuck. It's not enough as well. Look, KDOC, I'm going to have to leave it with you. I'm really struggling to get us to that 24k right now, and I'm sure we've talked about things in the past. Let's do a movement, right? We're looking between the highs that we had in June 2019 down to the lows that we had in March, right? I'm sure there's a 24k in here for us somewhere, right? I'm sure I can get one because I'm pretty sure I've said 24k at some point myself in the past, at some point. Cool. We're starting to look a bit more like it. So what we've got here is that we've moved up to the 1618 up at that 20k recently, right? If we do your measured move from the symmetrical triangle that we're putting in right now, then we're going up past the 1618, and the next reasonable target to look to is up here at the 2.24 at 26,859. But that might be being a bit greedy. Okay, instead what we should look for the next 2 hours of price action, instead of being as greedy to look for 26k, I think we should look for the really reasonable target in there at 24k in this area here. I think movements beyond that would be too greedy. This is going to be called our greed zone, okay? And this is our win zone, right? So this is the win zone for KDOC, and we've made it there, buddy. We did it. We just don't need to go as far as the 2.24. Let's just go for, something in between these areas. Maybe just the 200. A nice round number. Will 200 do it for us? Oh, boom. Excellent. Win. We're going for that 200% retrace, baby. It's on. It's not the thing that makes it inside everybody's technical analysis, rule book. Who cares about them, though? We're on. It's happening in the next 2 hours. That's right, everybody. All in. We're going up towards the 200% fib extension. That's happening. That's great. Still time for 24k. It's happening. Yes, brilliant. Excellent. You could drop 2 billion into Bitcoin. That would help. Yeah, that would help. That would get the ball rolling. Grease the wheels a little bit. Let's go. I'm all in. Invert the chart. Should be easier to get to 24k. Good point, mate. Good point. Very good point. Yeah, you're right. Right. I was FOMO lightheaded, says KDOC. 124k next week. Money face emoji, says Zoner. Fib extension, said Trace1. Yeah, that's what got us there in the end. 24,400 is the 1.272. There we go. Brilliant. Where's that from? Which particular, are you talking about the all-time highs? Of course you must be, right? The all-time high. Oh, that's what I should have done first. Of course that'll be where I'm remembering the 24k numbers from. Of course that's where 24k comes from. 27k is at the 1618. So let's go, let's change this to 1.27 2. Oh, I must have drawn it in wrong. Who cares? I actually, you know, don't want to. I'm gonna have to go back. I don't want to mess up my Fibonacci's with these random numbers on there so much. Cool. Anyway, so glad we got to a win zone for our friend K-Doc. Stick that on your tagline and watch the views flood in. What should it be? Write it in there exactly. Write it in there exactly. Suggestions for the video title. Here we have the YouTube. That's the wrong page. Let me just get back there's the chart. Here's YouTube Studio, right? My chat was Bitcoin to 16,000, you know, more realistic. I wanted to stick this in F to 350. I didn't actually come up with a target for 350. Let me just see. Did I come up with one for 350? Where's that coming in at? 370 where the 200 simple is. Cool. Well, that'll do then. We've covered that enough clearly in terms of the episode. Oh, that's great. That's good. That's good. So we've got that for 350. Nice one. There's also this sort of measured move type idea. Whatever. So yeah. But here is the live stream. So anyway, what you do is you hit edit over there and then you go over to the chat. I've not seen this on the chart since 2017. 24k on the fib. There we go. Cheers, Kevin. That is the title for today's episode. I hope you feel proud of yourself for having contributed so fantastically to the episode here. I've not seen 24k copy. Edit. What does everybody think about this as a title? Hope you all like it. A distinct lack of capital letters on this. I feel like capital letters. Oh, hey, hi Rudy, good to have you here. Hi Rudy, hit that like button if you would mind. Hit that like button. Thanks, nice to have you here, Rudy. Oh wait, you need to say warning. Yeah, write it again, K-Doc. Look, you're missing capital letters and warning. Now the whole thing, I don't think the whole thing should be capitals. Give it a little bit of a mixture in there and say warning at the start. Can I even put in if I can put that emoji in there as well. Yeah, write it out again. We're not satisfied with that title. This title needs work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this perfect video title. We're going to watch the full 24 karat digital gold. I like it. You know, I like it. I do like it, by the way, Dvorkis. I do like it. But we need what we're looking for here is the extreme clickbait. Too many characters. Take out the pronouns. Take out the pronouns. Great tip. Pronouns. Pronouns? I've not seen this. There are no pronouns in there, but that's cool. Well, I've not a pronoun. What's a pronoun again? Pronouns like he, she, he, I, yeah. So take out the pronouns. Not seen this. Yeah, cool. Are these carrots organic? Yeah, organic. 24 organic carrots. K-Doc, you're so slow at writing your gosh damn title. There we go. Cheers, buddy. Thanks. I'm glad to see you put in all that effort with those emoticons. Perfect. Copy, and then of course we'll cut down on any additional characters if there's too many of them in a second here. Paste. Warning. Crazy prices on Bitcoin. Not seen this since 2017. Oh, and it needs an exclamation mark, right? Or two of them. 2 exclamation marks. Don't want to go overboard. 24 karat digital. Right. Look, Dvorkis, I think it's only fair I put in your thing as the description. So the first thing that people will see below the video as a description is going to be 24 karat digital gold exclamation mark new highs coming within the next 24 hours. I'm going to make it look, you know, if I say 2 hours, it's a bit clickbaity. Not clickbaity, but there we go. Isn't that the perfect title? You're all to blame. You are now, okay, everybody, and everybody who stood passively by as well, just like Solzhenitsyn said when after he watched the Nazis kill a bunch of Jewish people, he says, I'm a retard for not doing something. I think that's Solzhenitsyn quote right there. So if you feel like Solzhenitsyn right now because we're about to put this title on the stream, you've only got yourself to blame. All it takes for clickbait to succeed is for good men to stand by and say nothing. 20k is the new 10k. That's cool. That's a good phrase to chuck in there as well. 20k is the new 10k, so Zoner gets a shout out in terms of the video as well. Nice one. It will prove to be true when the Ponzi hits 6k. Is it, we're missing something. As many as fit! Exclamation marks. Oh yeah, he wants more exclamation marks. Okay, we'll put in 4. Right, we're on 4. Okay, nice one. Sorry, yeah. Well, look, clickbait, right? Clickbait, Nazis, different things. Okay, slightly different things. I get it. But we're in this. This is the ultra soft 21st century. Okay, you know that is it. It's like 9 a.m. Clickbait, stuff like that. They're up there with the worst things in the world. Wow, class in marketing, chart analytics, pure value. Good show, sir. Anyway, look, there it is, right? Dav wants boobies in 2. You know what? It's going to be hard to get the boobies in there. Oh, you want the boobies? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Where do you want them? Do you want them before? I'm going to put them before the... No, I'll put them after the exclamation mark. No, I'll put them after 1 exclamation mark. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That and that. There we go. Right, great, excellent. I think, are we done here? Have we achieved some form of perfection? Buying Bitcoin under 20k all day, every day. Don't give 2 hits if we hit 16 or 6k. That sounds pretty good as well. Okay, save for now. That's pretty good. I'm going to save that for now. And Jacob Sutton, your latest comment is going to be the second line in the description for the video. Okay, so this is me. Right, there we go. I'm saying I'm buying Bitcoin under 20k. I'm going to make this capitals just so that everybody can see it properly. You know how it is. You need capitals. Day small, right? Day small, all day, and then every capitals. All day, every day, right? Exclamation mark, space. I'll make the punctuation correct as well. Don't give 2 hits if we hit 16k or 6k. Ding. There we go. Cool. So that's the perfect video intro and description. I'm really proud of you. Just want to stick a wee thanks. Oh no, that's right. Thanks to all the Outcropticians for helping me with my video title and description. Do we want to edit the keywords before we go? You know, I mean, there's no other clickbait Nazis have as much fun coming up with titles. I bet you they don't. You're right. Let's call it, cut it, shape it. Oh yeah. Sweet. Save that. And then I'm going to add Dvorakis's chat there because of course we need that in there. Oh, this is great. By the way, when I go to make the next stream on Monday, what I tend to do is go reuse old settings. So this will actually last the test of time. Cut it, shape it, drop it, sniff it, smack it, says it all. But we don't need to say says it all though, because, you know, that's too meta, right, at that point. Last thing we need to do is update the tags, right, ladies and gents, because our video is nothing without tags. Okay, so there are no tags on this video so far. That's a bit of a faux pas on my part. We're going to need to have Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, that's a tag. Bitcoin, BTC, BTC USD, BTC space USD, how about that? ETH USD. Get your tags in there though, because I'm just going to put in the sort of the bog standard ones, right? Any tags you want to see in this video, get them in there. Some suggestions are 24 carat. We also have 24k. There's another one. All-time high. So you see. So the space is running out quick, ladies and gents. If you want to get your tags in here, get them in there real quick. Rocky Outcrop. There's another tag. Suggest the tags that you want to have. Oh, we also talk about Link and XDZ, Tezos. May as well put these things in here as well, huh? Chainlink. Right, cool. Moon. Excellent. So we've got brilliant moon. Brilliant. Activate autism mode. Cute cats, dogs, gang ham. Gang what? Going gang ham. Right, okay, so we've got a few here. Yeah, keep getting your tags in, ladies and gents. We're still putting the tags on for this video. We need to make sure that this video gets the maximum number of views, of course, as well. So let me just put in cute cats, comma, put in, you know, cute dogs, right? Cute dogs, cute dogs, cute cats, cute dogs. And then I'm going to put Gangham into his own one. I think that deserves its own tag just on its own. Hands Up Don't Shoot says, howdy, good to have you here, buddy. Will we ever close the 18k CME gap? Next week, Gap Boys conversation, will we ever close the 18k CME gap? Says Zoner. Oh, FOMO, good one. FOMO, put FOMO in here. Need FOMO. Greed, money. We love money. What else do we like? What else do we like? Lambo, yeah, Tesla. TSLA, just for the stonk, to get the stonks. Gotta get those stonks lovers in here, right? Lambo, brilliant tag. Love the tag. For anybody that's just joining us, by the way, we've basically done the live stream. This is us now editing it so that it gets maximum appreciation from the crypto audience, of course, out there. Charlie D'Amelio for 100k views. Okay, Charlie D'Amelio, I don't know how that's gonna necessarily work in terms of a tag, but I'm putting yep, Charlie D'Amelio's coming in here. He's coming in. Don't worry. I don't know how you say his D'Amelio. I think that's it. Charlie D'Amelio. There we go. Nice one. Oh, what's that other guy called? Raoul Paul. Is it Raoul Paul? Is that a guy? Is that the guy's name? Let me know if that's his name. You've also got, oh, what's that guy that's really big on YouTube? That's quite camp, really big on YouTube, quite camp. It doesn't matter. Let's just put in Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast Bitcoin. Okay, cool. So we've got some of that in there. You know, these sorts of things help with exposure for the channel. So any other suggestions in there? What about that other guy, Antonopoulos? Yeah, Antonopoulos. Yeah, that's a guy, right? That gets views. Antonopoulos. Charlie is a her. Oh, Charlie's a her, is it? Oh, cool. Nice one. If you ever watch the stream, Charlie, lovely to have you here. We have got a distinct lack of female viewers. We need more female viewers. Believe me, I've been out there telling all the females I can find about it. It just doesn't seem to make a difference. LOL, does LOL call Shane Dawson. Cheers. Shane Dawson, Susan Warrender. You got in there. Shane Dawson, right? Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson Bitcoin. Hey, how about that? Shane Dawson Bitcoin. What else? Minecraft. Nice. Loving it. Brett Manrock. I don't know what that is, so that's cool. Brett Manrock. What other big YouTubers? We've got Moon in there already. I think maybe we should also have the Moon. What about that? Do we like this? Shall we go down that path? Is that path too evil? Is that like the Waffen SS of the clickbait? Is that what it is? Are we going too evil when we start using other YouTuber names? Or do we do it? Do we do MM Crypto? Do we do MM Crypto? MM Crypto, that's one. Da Vinci J17. Yeah. Who else is there that's big? What do we want in here? Anyway, okay, we've gone 352 of the 500 possible characters. We'll give it another minute, see if anybody comes up with any more suggestions. Otherwise, we'll go what we want. That's your YouTube rabbit hole later. He's super famous on YouTube. Oh really, is that who these people are? Right, Brett Manrock, super famous for younger. Right, there we go. Okay, I'll check it out later on. I saw a guy called Moon Lambo the other day, so maybe this actually works. Okay, cool. Moon Lambo, that's a good one. Moon Lambo, this is a good name. This is a good, like, you know. What else do we want? We want to have Wallet. Oh, check it out. Look, hands up, don't shoot. You're coming in here with like good suggestions. I don't know if are we in the business of good suggestions or what? I'm not too sure. Anyway, Peter Schiff. Oh yeah. Peter Schiff. It's like that. I think it's got two F's. He's blocked me on Twitter, so I can't look him up on Twitter, I don't think. But yeah, Peter Schiff. I think that's his name. Good one. Oh, gold. Diamonds. What do we also? There's other stuff. Mike Novogratz. Yeah, Mike Novogratz. Yeah, people love the Novogratz. Mike Novogratz, yes, sweet, loving it. Fi-D, okay, D, Fi is what I thought you said first off, and then Fi-D, because I don't know what that is, but let's go with it. Oh, Cyberpunk 2027, oh, brilliant, great suggestion, love it, Zoner, love it. Cyberpunk 2027. Nice. What else is there? Oh, Ripple. We did actually talk about Ripple, and a lot of people look at Ripple, right? So Ripple, XMR. Oh no, that's not X. Oh, we'll leave it in there. XRP, XRP USD. Okay, cool. That's like a couple of legit ones. Uni. That's right. We looked at Uni earlier on. Uni USD. Huh, good one. Maybe we should do that for all of them. Link USD, XTZ USD. So like, oh crap, we're out of space. Right. Okay. We're out of space. We're out of space, ladies and gents. I have 3 characters left. I think that includes 2 spaces. So I could put in AA, like Alcoholics Anonymous. Shall we finish it off with Alcoholics Anonymous? And that's it. 500 out of 500 for the tags. Nice one. Nice one. Nice one. I hope you all pop in YFI and flash the car up. Yeah, YFI. Okay, great, cool. We'll take out AA and Link USD and we'll put in YFI. People love a bit of YFI, don't they? And we did it in the last live stream and all that, didn't we? He was sending him aubergines or eggplants. How many letters do we have? 10 letters left. Eggplant. That's an option if you want it. Right. There's room for one last, as long as it's 9 characters or less. One last suggestion, right? And then we'll wrap up the stream. Come on, who wants to get the last 9 characters? Could be anything, any word you like, you know. It could be anything, whether it's related to the video or not, you know. It's all going to, we're trying to attract a new audience here. So Bat, okay, Bat says Shivam, and we didn't actually talk about Bat, so I almost feel a bit bad doing it, but Bat, and the benefit of writing Bat in is actually leaves room for somebody else. If somebody else wants to take advantage of the last 6 characters, Bull Run, Batman, Bull Run. No wait, sorry, I'm gonna have to get rid of Bat. Bull Run I think is like too good to not put on. Bull Run. Right? Should it be like Bull Space Run or Bull Run? Like that? I don't know. COVID. I can't put COVID on. You know what's going to happen if I put COVID on. Vaccine. Maybe if I put the one word right, okay, we're going to have to take a vote here. It's between vaccine and Bull Run. Get your votes in real quick. What do we want as the last one? Is it going to be Bull Run or vaccine? Vaccine, I think, is for super powerful YouTube needs, and then you've got Bull Run for accuracy and, of course, the potential that this is maybe a worthwhile endeavor. Ooh. 0x for the last 2. Take out Gangham. Yeah, you're right about that one. Where is it? There it is. There. Take out Gangham. So we've got space, and now we can fit in vaccine. You'll get shadow banned with anything COVID related. Yeah, so vaccine, I'll take out vaccine. It is too much. I think it's too much of a risk. Bull Run's got to be, we've got votes coming in for Bull Run, right? That's brilliant, but we actually do have 13 characters left now as a result of this. 13 characters left. Avoid the COVID stuff. I'm already shadow banned enough up the wazoo from the whole Bitcoin chat, you know. So what is there? Who is there? Maybe Alessio Rastani, since he's got the 250,000 subscribers. Do I stick his name in? Rastani. I don't know how you spell it, so that's maybe a bad choice. Trix says, yeah, actually, well, I didn't put in your Bat suggestions. So there's Bat, TRIX. I'm thinking maybe you mean TRX for Tron. I'm going to go with TRX. And Batman. That's 6 characters. Oh, well, okay. Loki. Right, Loki. Cool. Excellent. 500 out of 500 characters. We have achieved 100% efficiency. Chainsawdildo. Chainsawdildo. God, that's so good. Right, save that and then take chainsawdildo and pop that into the description. This is all the chainsawdildo you'll ever need. Okay, dokie, brilliant, save, masterpiece. What? Right, okay, so everybody knows what to do, right? Go to the channel, check out the video. You'll have to go to like uploads and then live or whatever if you want to. If you want to check into this yourself, obviously I'll give you an update on Monday. But if you're looking at over the weekend and you think, I wonder how Rocky's video's doing with all those stupid tags and that title, then of course go to the live section of my channel, whatever, and you'll see the video there. You'll be able to see how many views it's got. I mean, you won't get to see the whole insights, but at least you'll get to see it. Well, if Rocky ain't back on Monday, we know he's banned. Right, okay, brilliant. Okay, bring the charts up so that anybody joining us here towards the end doesn't get scared away off. All right, okay, thanks so much to everybody for being a part of today's really enjoyable episode, looking towards the weekend with regards to the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos, Ripple, Uni, and various other coins potentially that we took a look at during the show today. I want to give some shout outs. No, it's TriumphX TRX gives 50% return, only large gainer. Oh, tell you what, I mean, maybe we need to make the space for TRIX. I don't need TRX in there, and I'm sure I could find a space. I mean, one character to put in your man's suggestion. Uni USD, you could probably just make that one word. XRP USD. Yeah, I'll just make like XRP USD one word, right? And then I've got one more character, and I can make this one TRIX. Brilliant. Everyone's a winner, baby, ain't that the truth? Hi Rocky, just subscribed. Such a great live show. Thanks so much, Smoking Token. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Thanks so much. Brilliant. Fantastic. Unfortunately, because your subscribers are not public, it doesn't come up with your name. Jimothy Bloomberg was the last subscriber who's, got public subscriber number thing information. And that's the same thing as what I see in my dashboard, by the way. So let's just jump on over and I can give everybody who's recently subscribed to the channel a wee shout out and all that sort of stuff. So just jump over to the dashboard. If you've never seen behind the scenes on a oh, you sent a rep donation by 1UP. Seems it might have been delayed. Oh, thanks so much. That's fantastic, Smoking Token. That's really cool of you. Really do appreciate it. Did you have a coin you wanted to look at, by the way, or anything? Or are you just being a super cool guy? Really appreciate it if that's what the case is. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's delayed. I've seen this in the past, it be delayed and then it come up like a minute or two later, so fingers crossed on that one. That's awesome. Yeah, you might never have seen behind the scenes on a YouTuber's dashboard, by the way. Here it is, if you're interested. You can see various things, such as the vast quantity of money that this YouTube channel has managed to generate over the period of the last 28 days. You'll see it's at a whopping $77.35, up 13% over the last 28 days. You will, of course, be extremely jealous at how much I'm rolling in it with the old YouTube ads over there on that one. By the way, incidentally, we did do a bit of maths on this recently and established that the moon, in the space of 10 days, when on the time that we were looking at it, the previous 10 days, he'd made $4,000 alone from YouTube ads, is what we'd found out. So if you're curious as to his the necessity, if you like, for him to be able to trade well, I hope you find that enlightening. Yeah, anyway, analytics. So you can see, where do I get to see my friends, my subscribers? This is what I came for, subscribers. If anybody wants to see anything about how these things work, by the way, just give me a shout. I'll let you see it. Latest comments. No, I want to see subscribers. Where are my subscribers? Creator Insider, new in studio, recent subscribers. There we are. See y'all. Right, date, subscribe. So what we have here is a shout out required for a bunch of people. In fact, we're not seeing Jimothy's name on there, by the way, so maybe this is a little bit delayed as well. But I want to give a shout out to DPK Jangid. I want to give a shout out to Joey P, Smurfy Murphy, whose name actually did make it onto the thingy. Edmund Wong, that's cool to see you here, Edmund. Then there's that guy Richard. He's not turned up for today's show, but that's cool. R Zijo as well, good to have you here. Dead Letter Opener, that's a nice name. 87 subscribers. Fionn Gainey, Kytho88, he was the last one on here, and I know that we looked at the subscribers back then as well, so how about we just take a wee second to look at this guy who's got 87 subscribers and see what type of channel he has, okay? Because this is what sort of thing that I do. I love doing this sort of thing and seeing what you've all got on the go. So we see Brutal Vengeance live in Brisbane. Setting up drums is fun. In fact, I've already watched this one. He must have subscribed, unsubscribed, and then subscribed again, because I've already watched this video and given it a thumbs up. I've just not subscribed to his channel. You know what, just it's nice to have a little bit of proof in there that I'm not talking bullshit. When somebody subscribes to the channel, I genuinely care about every single last person as an individual, as a member of this community. And as you can see, I've already gone over and watched a video and hit a like on a guy's channel. How about that? That's good crack. I even watched the whole freaking thing. Let's see, let's watch another one together though. This one's 23 seconds, and see, you can get to listen to it. Sorry about that. Just kidding. No, actually I'm not. I can't put this out through the live stream. It's just going to be like, everybody be like, what, the noise coming through my microphone and the feedback and all that stuff as well. By the way, I'd like to if everybody could let me know what they think of my kind of crap generic thumbnail, that would be cool. Hey Richard, you here? You are here. How cool is that? You see, I was looking out for you, my buddy. Right, cool. Rep, if you have time, but I can catch you on the next one too. Oh, that's cool. So you were looking for a coin. That brings us up to a really lovely end to the show then, because then we have somebody getting a coin looked at that they actually asked for in terms of the technical analysis on the and that's cool. We've got this huge wick over here, which I'm going to just put down as a printing error, or indeed some sort of, you know, we're going to discount that in terms of looking at this thing. I can see that we obviously trended up for this, you know, its initial lifespan. But for people who've watched the whole show, I've got a little quiz for you at this moment in time. One question, you should be able to answer this one, because it's, you know, directly relates to the last time, the only other time, right, that on the show that I did a little quiz question for anybody. What did we think could be the outcome of this movement up the way here? At this point, moving up the way, looking at this and seeing the upward sloping top resistance line up above us, and this upward sloping support line below us, but the two of them slightly diverging, what would be a reasonable target off the back of one of those shaped patterns? You've got 3 seconds to answer. 3, 2, 1. Well done. You're right. Exactly right back here at the starting point. So what you actually had at the start of rep over here was this ascending, broadening wedge. Now, what does the textbook say your target is for it? Right here at where we started, and as you can see, that's where we came back down to, found a bounce, went up, and then went on down the way thereafter. I hope you find that this sort of technical analysis to be educational. I try my bloody cotton socks off to make it educational for everybody, so yeah, cool. Then you can see that we've come in here and put in this nice roundy out bomb. Haven't had to wait for ages in terms of, you know, the pain of the markets. You know, when people talk about how you can go sideways instead of, like, you know, going down or up to sort of capitulate out of markets and whatever, there's two types of capitulation you'll hear people saying. One where you get big movements in price one way or the other, and then the second type where you simply kind of go sideways for a while. Well, this would be type number 2 over here, in a sense, with this shallow movement, characterized as well by the complete decrease in volume on average across the board, all the way until such times as we got to the point where we were no longer wanting to do it. So there really is 3 phases in the market overall here, including then, you know, and this here point becomes a wedge. Okay, so we have this wedge on the go. You have to use the wick over there and cut through the body and blah blah blah, but essentially that's what this is overall here on this one. And then whenever eventually we moved outside of it, we moved into the third phase that this market has been in really ever. overall, and that so far has actually been characterized partly by, of course, having achieved the measured move off the back of that wedge there. But what does it put us in here? It puts us into the third phase. Well, maybe maybe you could look at this in a slightly different way and say that this area over here in this chunk is the fourth phase, and that there was this third phase in between where we went through a little channel towards the top side. I'm going to just include this whole sort of this magnifying glass pattern here. I'm going to include the magnifying glass pattern here as just being the third movement in the markets that we've seen so far, and that's taken us up as high as really just, you know, our key area over there, which was the starting point of this wedge essentially. Now, of course, when you look at this and you see that we've had this downward movement, and it says, of course, a convergent wedge and a narrowing one, an acute one, whatever way you want to call it, then what you see here is that the movement from the measured move took us back up to the area that we started at, and this is obviously typical of a wedge which has got this sort of somewhat sort of, you know, almost 45 degree, but not quite, the sort of the 60 degree movement towards the downside. That's classic in terms of where you're going to expect to see that coming in at. And what that really means is that if you wanted to, you could then, instead of saying this is maybe 3 or 4 shifts in the market, that what you really have overall here is this one big phase that the market's been in this period, where we saw the drop down in the volume throughout the sort of sideways second form of capitulation, where you simply just go sideways for a period of time, as I said earlier on, in this phase over here, putting you in with what could be conceivably a downward trend leading into an inverted head and shoulders type idea somewhere along the lines here, perhaps in there in that wedge. In fact, you could have made that debate with this being your neckline and that being your measured move is completely cooperative. Anyway, that's where we've been, right? That's just a summary of where we've been. Where we are going next is a slightly different question, because you can see that there's this question mark here. We moved towards the top side in this channel, broke out of it, retested it, broke back down below it, came up again, moved towards the top side, down again, and this then results in this really wanting to be that fourth stage in the market. And the way I'm going to actually look at this right now is between the highs and lows. No, actually, between this low here and this high, just as a starting point to put where we've come to into context. We've come down as low as the 886 and the 50 simple period moving average here, putting us in with, of course, asking questions about this trend. This is the 24-hour time frame. Where is the 200 simple moving average? It's nowhere to be seen. That's annoying that I'm on a chart that doesn't have that. Surely, has it not got more history than this? I'm pretty sure it has. Fuck's sake. That is the Binance one that I'm on already, right? Hit BTC then. Okay, so here we are in this dump. So yeah, how high have we come since our highs over there? We're at the 236 currently. This is something that needs to be to be considered right now with regards to the overall macro picture and the trend. Prices above $15 are taking out the 236, putting us in line for a potential move up towards the 616 in here at $20. So what you're looking for is to take out the 236 so that potentially we could come in here as a target towards the top side, if that could be possible. What we have here is a chunk of price action which is really defined by having come up towards the top side in this wedge, pushed past the 200 simple, come down, found support at the 50, gone up, pushed up to 200 simple, come down, found support at the 50, and we've not managed to break outside of this zone yet. We're above the 50, which means that this is going to incline up the way. We're below the 200, which means this is going to decline down the way, descend, and that means that these things here are on, and have the possibility of having a golden cross at some point, and that would be very, 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 very good. But we are still under death cross conditions, and what we see after a death cross is so often that we go up and we test the 50. If you've watched the whole episode, you know where I'm going with this one. And then if you push past that point, finding support at the 50, you go on and test the 200. Now, of course, if you were to break past this point up towards the top side at this point, then you'd be able to say that we've definitely got a turnaround. If you fail to do so, then instead eyes get drawn back down towards the 50 again. And will you simply get a confirmation of this death cross by virtue of the touches here? So movements back down below this zone become very, very much negative for us, and that means we can draw in a couple of clear horizontal lines for us and build up a nice chart to revisit in the future. We know that this area down below is going to be significant, where we see our last wicks. We know that this area up above where we had our last body high close, and that goes through those wicks, and actually let's just stick it in like that, is going to be super important towards towards the top side. That lines up nicely enough with the 236 moving average. You know, being below it looks down, being above the 382 looks up the way. And let's then start to wrap up this technical analysis in terms of where we are now and this movement towards the downside. So this has been all in 24-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see that there's going to be a question: are we in a downward trend or an upward trend or a sideways trend? Have we got a bull, a bear, or a kangaroo market on the go? This is a high here. This subsequent high closed lower than it. If I just actually, you know, establish that that's indeed the case here. Yes, indeed, this was a lower high. This is a low, and what do we have over here? We haven't quite closed lower than it. So the importance over here, the importance here at the minute is to define that we have this range that we're in. Really, essentially, this is the range. This can be defined quite easily as well with just the parallel channel, taking in those tops and bottoms here. If we take out, however, if we take out these lows, we have lower lows and we're in a downward trend. Okay, so this is our sort of parallel channel, if you like, in terms of just looking at this in terms of support and resistance. There's various other ways we could be looking at this. One of them that I'm tempted to actually do as well, just to kind of fatten it all out a bit, is to stick on one of our friends, the pitchfork over here, coming from this low up to that high over there, down to this subsequent low, which was characterized with wicks, I do believe, in this area. And as you can see, really, well, although I do admit it's getting a bit difficult now, isn't it? That we've got this pitchfork here. If I just hide the parallel channel, it'll make it a bit easier to see. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. Right. As you can see here with this pitchfork, you know, which is obviously fairly tempting to do. If we can push past these zones, we're going towards the top side. If we push past these zones, we could be going towards further lows, taking out that previous low over there. In terms of thinking about pitchforks, by the way, of course, there's the reason they were invented, where you take your low, your high, you draw between the 50% Fibonacci area, or well, maybe 50% Fibonacci, just simply 50-50. Draw a line through it. This is an area where you can look for a reversion to the mean in terms of the oscillations of the price coming back towards a mean line in the middle. And of course, that's very, very important. But also in terms of looking at the overall kind of movements away beyond the previous areas of support and resistance, right? And the key areas in terms of the up and downs in the markets. And you can see quite clearly then that by going up past these zones and actually moving outside the width of this pitchfork would be putting us into an area where you could say that not are we coming in for a double top or for some sort of little shallower area, but we're actually moving on for the next trending move. Movements down past this zone would give you that feeling that we're going past that as well. So it's beyond, it's more, it has more to do with simply your relationship to the extended future sort of comparison point of that 50% area with relation to your up and down move. Okay, it's more than just that, and we're looking at the overall trend as well with regards to that pitchfork. That's why I've got it on there, and that's why I was tempted to draw it as well, because naturally that comprises of that information. Now, this is just your standard one, or this is Schiff. I prefer Schiff. This is just your standard Schiff pitchfork. There are other ones that you could be drawing, and this one here might have a touch of relevancy to people in terms of the inside. If we actually see pushings down past these points, I wouldn't like to see anything going down past $12. Okay, if we're going to look for movements outside of that zone, anything up past these areas, I would say that you'd be looking for you'd be looking and asking questions about the pullback then once you got up towards that $20 zone, as we spoke about already in terms of a target towards the top size, $20. There you go. That's where the 618 is coming in at and everything. There you go. That would be your technical analysis on that one. You could go down, you could keep going down, you could keep going down the time frames. I mean, let me know if you think that was interesting, right? Move on to uni. Move on to uni. Move on to uni. I did uni already, by the way, Shivam. I already did it. I already did it, my friend. Did you not see it? Did you not see when we did uni? I already did uni. I did the gosh darn uni already, my pal. We were talking about key areas towards the downside. We even went and looked at Did we look at the Bollinger Bands? By the way, you might want to know that we extended just outside them here, came back in below this area. Yeah, if we don't take out... Yeah, we already did this. This has already been covered. We talked about it all already. There's the daily. We pushed outside of it. We've come back in. Do I expect this to trace towards the downside? That would be the only reasonable expectation at this point, if you're going to be so foolhardy as to actually have expectations in the market. But if you do, then I would, and that would be the natural cause of that, until such times as we've taken out that 50 simple, which we've already talked about. Shivam, mate, we've already talked about. Charlie D'Amelio, yeah, cool. Are people just saying stuff now? Developers dumping some of their coins there, it looks like. Yeah, you're probably right, K-Doc, exactly. That's how it goes. They do it in a very unsophisticated way. Very, 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 very badly. You know, somebody said, if you earlier on, was it yourself, K-Doc, if you put 2 billion in, that would help get the ball rolling. Or somebody said something like that about the market, you know. But some people do stupid things like that, and other people do them badly. In fact, I know how I've seen the outcome of people doing things really stupidly like that in the recent past, actually, really with regards to some other coin. And, you know, people just be... I wouldn't do that myself. I'm not like that, but other people are stupid. And stuff like that. And these things happen. Anyway, if you were to actually put $2 billion into Bitcoin, you wouldn't be buying it all at once, and a significant amount of your time, if you had $2 billion that you wanted to put into Bitcoin, would be spent selling it. If you were actually talking about where you would put most of your effort and your concentration, it would go into selling it, okay? This is the people who've got $2 billion to spend on anything, spend a significant proportion of the time making it so that the thing itself is cheaper before they go and buy it. Imagine the slippage alone, you know, on an order of $2 billion. So if anybody wants to do anything like that, they spend the majority of their time thinking about how and when they will sell. That is a key for you to understand in terms of the overall dynamics in the market. And of course, when you see prices of things, you know, when people buy stuff at certain prices, you think, why are they market buying it at the very top of the market, etc., etc. You know, it's quite often it's covering from a short, for instance, that sort of thing. You never know, like, the motivations that exist in anybody's head. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, if you've got $2 billion to spend on something like this, you go to an expert and you ask them to do it, and the way that they do it is the way that is described by, of course, the protagonist, Jesse Livermore, in the book Reminiscences of a Stock Market Operator. Don't take my word for it. Go and read about how people did it back before the Second World War. If you want to know how they did it back then, even back just in the immediate, you know, in 1920s, how people did it back then, and the systems have only become more sophisticated since, not less so. Certainly not to the extent that somebody would go along and put in $2 billion. Right? Do you reckon it was Charlie D'Amelio that hit down like on the video? It was, wasn't it? It was. That's why it's got a down like. Here, by the way, if we see a bunch of down likes over the weekend, it could be because people search for, you know, cute cats and dogs, Charlie D'Amelio, 24 karat gold, various reasons. So, yeah. We could see a couple of dislikes. Are we done? Are we done? Ladies and gentlemen, are we done? Are we done here, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know. I like to get feedback. Smoking Token, if you're still here, buddy. Thanks, man, you said earlier. I'm thinking that you... Yeah, so yeah, that's cool. Thanks, man, you said it. Yeah, so that was cool. Then we had Shivam talking about moving on to uni, which I'd already done, Shivam. This is probably more TA than I have done on it myself. Thanks so much. Well, that's cool. Like, that's cool. So now you've got a broad feeling about the market. And, of course, you can go back into kind of looking at the micro movements and all that sort of thing yourself, and brilliant. I'm so glad that it gave you a bit more kind of knowledge. And then, of course, you know, if that means that you go on to make a couple of quid out of it, then hopefully that's considered like a decent investment. And we're helping each other. How brilliant. Thanks again, Rocky. You're welcome, Smoking Token. It's so great to have you here. New subscriber, already getting value out of the episodes, all that sort of stuff. That's great. K-Doc says, aye, the time's up. Thank you for the TA and the police for behaving outside this. Right? Amazing. What is going on? It is dead out there tonight. Dead out there. There you go. That is a COVID Friday, 10:30 p.m. on Friday. Man, wow, it's so dead outside. When the COVID stuff started happening here, it was just like Christmas, you know, it was like Christmas Day. Literally nobody around. It's totally amazing. Yeah, cool. We're done. Could check back on our 15. Oh, buddy. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder, Devoricus. How did we do in the end? Bum, 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 bum. Oh, did I destroy the 15-minute triangle? Hope I didn't in my KDoc. Oh, look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Well, that's what we did. We tested off the 200. One way you could have had a sense of this being possible would have been, of course, whenever we pushed up past the Bollinger Band. I didn't have the Bollinger Bands on at the time when we were doing this. I'm not a Mr. Bollinger Band over here. By the way, I quite often say that with, you know, everything that I look at. I'm not Mr. RSI. I'm not Mr. DMI. I'm not Mr. Bollinger Band. I'm not Mr. Moving Averages. I'm not Mr. Fibonacci Retracements. These are just some of the key tools. I'm certainly not Mr. Patterns or Mr. Diagonal Line or Mr. Horizontal. I'm not Mr. anything, right? We obviously approach things in different ways, but you can get the impression when you see some people on the old YouTubes that they're kind of, you know, that they just, you know, that for one reason or another they don't they stick to what they do, and that's it. I find it hard to see these when there's other colors on the background, so I like to make them white from time to time. So there's the Bollinger Bands there. As you can see, we pulled outside of it, moved back in, came down, retested the 8-period simple moving average. You know, if you'd have been at this point here looking at it as we were testing 200, and you know, we thought of this for different reasons, just to test at the 200. Could we come back down and retest this area where our blue line is at, and the symmetrical triangle downward sloping resistance come support line was at that point for our buy? I mean, we spelled this out. We spelled this out. That is cool. Nice one. Devoricus comes in. Top show, mate. Yes. So you've all got the ability to do this yourself, right? Now, I didn't predict the future here. I don't think any of you would say that that's exactly what happened. What I did, though, was I said that we could be looking for a move outside of this if we push up past this zone. However, and we've got two areas up above to be aware of. We will, and we did see inflection at the 236 green horizontal line there, and then where this 200 simple moving average was coming in at, and because we went up there so soon, you know, instead of, you know, doing anything else in the meantime, we had the risk here of carrying a position past this point here up when we've kind of front run it, you know, and we've moved earlier outside of the area. The apex of this thing isn't until over here, but we moved out here, so we front ran it. So you've got that extra additional risk there where you're not really, you know, you think you're working with a pattern, but you ain't really, and all that sort of stuff on the go. We also had this in the background. I highlighted at the time what's going to happen when the musical chairs stop. We might come back to exactly where we left off from. Is that me predicting the future? I'd like to tell you that it is absolutely, most categorically, sincerely not. However, what happened? The musical chairs stopped, the prices went up, we came right back to where we were when the musical chairs stopped. Honest to goodness, thanks so much, Devoricus, for telling me to go back and look at this. Obviously, I take it for granted, but you were still kind of thinking, oh, how's this going to pan out? You know, and you were doing it yourself. So brilliant. And yeah, there you go. There's TA. So I was asked one time in a live stream by somebody, what would you say to people who say that TA doesn't work? I would say that we've had a great time this evening during this live stream. Everybody's enjoyed themselves. And I'd stop talking to them because I'm not interested in continuing that conversation. That's what I do. I just walk away, probably. I don't know. I try not to be too rude. Would be my answer, I suppose. Try not to be too rude. Yeah, cool. Nice one. Excellent. Let me just check in with the chat so I've not missed anything. Could check back. Yes, did that. Top show, mate. Yes, did that. Yes. Always should be left on bit. Yeah, the 50-minute chart in between the coins. Yeah. I forget about that. I mean, that's thanks for keeping me. Thanks for telling me that. I need these reminders, you know, about how to format these things because I just like engaging with you all. You know, that's my main priority. Cool. Right, now I'm not going to go ahead and then do the next 15 minutes and do the next 15 minutes and do the next 15 minutes, right? I'm going to tune out now in a second. I just want you to all know that this is totally achievable yourself and if you want to develop towards being that consistent self-reliant trader, there's probably no better place than right here on YouTube. And tell you what, when you get to that point, I would really, really like it if you didn't just go away again thereafter, although you probably could and you'd be fine. Your trading career would go from zero to hero, and that would be great. But I would love it if we could all surround ourselves with a community of 1,000 good traders. Can you imagine if there was 1,000 people out there who were all saying all this sort of stuff already, and it was just a case of me opening up the charts and coming in and saying, how are you getting along? And somebody saying, by the way, we're about to do this here on this thing. And it just be like, yeah, cool, I agree. Even if it's completely, or even, no, I don't agree, because it doesn't matter to me one jot if we actually have the same, trade idea coming up or whatever, or if we can see, I just want to know what the risks are. I want to identify the risks, and that's why I do in every single one of these episodes. And then of course it looks like predicting the future, but it isn't. So if you get to the point where you feel like you can predict the future, make sure you come back. If you get to the point where you feel like you can predict the future, but you know that it's risk management and you're a really self-reliant independent trader, I would invite you to come back, because I would really like it if you to be my friend, the friend of the people in the community, all that good stuff. And you can imagine how things will grow as well over time. I'll also be looking to have people helping other people learn how to trade, along the lines of that idea of shit rolls downhill or whatever. I've been doing these YouTube streams for this year. I've made in total less than $500 from doing it. It's completely not about that. This is me kind of putting in the groundwork to build a community of all of us, of everybody you're seeing there in that chat. This is what this groundwork's for. Then it'll get to a point when more people come into the community and we'll have this solid groundwork. And at that point, then some of you all will be able to help these new people arriving into the community to become self-reliant independent traders as well, and build up that cohort of 1,000 great traders. And can you imagine the impacts that we could have in the market together as 1,000 good traders, and not as a pump and dump group, not like that, not like Ivan on Tech's, pay money pump and dump group, not like that. Yes, that's what it is. He runs the pump and dump group. In any other stock market it would be illegal and he would be arrested and put in jail, but in crypto it's unregulated and he isn't. Yes, it's a boiler room pump and stump group. Yes, it's a boiler room. Yes, it's illegal. That's what he does. But would I want to do that? Not at all. Instead, what I would want to do is to have 1,000 good traders around me, and just that environment alone, this fertile soil that we'll create, will grow many magical beanstalks, believe you me. We're at 18,120 at the minute. We've come back down, retested this symmetrical triangle. We've also tested a couple of other key areas in the recent past, such as the 200 simple on the 15-minute time frame and the top end of that Bollinger Band. We're currently waiting to see if we actually manage to sustain this area as support. It looks like we currently are, but of course this is very tentative on the small term time frames. On the 15 minutes, we did get a turnaround here towards the lower end as we came in with a slightly bullishly divergent low, and it set us up for what is an upward sloping right angled upward sloping inverse head and shoulders, with a 60% chance, of course, overall that we don't actually manage to break out of it. From the 4-hour time frame up above, we're looking down the way and seeing that we've had this downward trend. We've got key areas that we've managed to come in at and find support, this orange line being a key one of them, for example, and we're seeing this having acted as support with the bullish divergence here at the low end. So, and then moving past this, of course, that would be really positive for the prices to get past this orange line up above, and it'd be pretty darn negative to be going down past that price down below. If you're interested in the analysis for Ethereum, Chainlink, Tezos, and all the rest of it, then you will find them in this episode. I have got chat in the thing. If you scroll up, you'll see a yellow highlighted name. That's my name, putting in a wee note about where to find your information if that's what you're looking for. And I myself will be back again this time or so on Monday, probably around 7 p.m, 8 p.m. UK time, for another one of these streams, unless of course I get a massive amount of people coming and tell me it's the wrong time of the day to be doing them all. Right, troops, you all have a good night. Cheers, Rocky. Bye, all, says K-Doc. Catch you later, Captain. I hope you have a fantastic night. See you later, Dvoricus. You've been a charm in the show today. Thanks so much for taking part as ever. TradeSpotting, you are a legend. Thank you so much to K-Doc. Yes, I hope you have a really good night. Sleep well, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much for Smoking Token, the latest subscriber to the channel, and I really do appreciate you coming along here and asking for rep to be done. I'm glad I was able to help you out there. Good night to Susan Warrender. Thank you, Rocky. You rock, says Susan. Rock, Susie, you rock as well. Cheers, Rocky. Take care, everyone, says Navanethan. Davarkus says cheers all. We also had Richard coming back to the chat room earlier and gracing us with his presence, having sat there just lurking in the background, watching along. We also had, of course, Shivam, and can't quite tell if he's serious, if he's trolling sometimes with that guy. Hands up, don't shoot, haha, he says. Nice one, good to have you here as well, my buddy. Of course, you're in the Discord, I do believe, as well, and we've chatted as well a few times. In fact, I know who you are. You're my good Scottish friend. You're Scottish. You're a Scottish friend. You are from Scotland. Yes, fantastic. Fellow Celtic fan, I do believe. Apologies to anybody who doesn't support Celtic, but you're probably feeling all right if you don't. We also had, of course, Zoner, who has been joining us over the last wee while for our live streams here. We also had Jacob Sutton, who is, of course, another one of the recent joiners to the channel, I think, and is very much welcome along with everybody else. We also had joining us, Nav and Ethan, I've said your name already. Who else did we have? Just trying to give everyone. Oh, hi, Brandon. Brandon, you joined us, the Garden Prophet. We also had Jimothy Bloomberg, who also subscribed during this show. Yes, brilliant. Fantastic. Another brilliant addition to the Rocky Outcrop community. Of course. And then scrolling back up the way, I see there's more chat from Shivam and TradeSpot and all the likes. But then there was, of course, Chris White. I did try to give you your coin a look, Chris. I know you tuned out. It was uni. We found it in the end. Shivam asked for it again and again and again. And yeah, it was done during the show. Hope you get to find that later on. XRP is gold, Steve. The last time I saw you earlier on was with a big smile on your face. I hope that was around about when I was doing the TA that you requested. We also saw chat going on between... That's it. That's everyone, I think. If I missed your name, then I'm really sorry about it, and I'll see you again on Monday. I hope you have a fantastic time. Oh, by the way, I think I really need to make a new video for that advert. The last one got banned because of cryptocurrency. I went to go in and try and make it work again. Wasn't happening. So just if you are still watching here at this minute in time, and of course I do not blame you at all if you've tuned out, we're seeing 13 viewers are still concurrently watching, so that's cool. What we need to do is make sure that I can put an advert up there for the channel that won't get banned because it's cryptocurrency, right? So first things first, let's jump on over to change the chart to something else. Let's put on something like USD JPY. Obviously, as you can see, I trade more than just crypto personally, by the way, myself, so just let me figure this out. Obviously this doesn't ever really get mentioned much in the channel, but there you go. But there's USD JPY, make that full screen, so there's no arguments there. Let's try and not say anything too spammy if you're still in there in terms of the chat box up above, and let's run through another 30-second advert again. I'll have a wee quick drink of water. I can't remember exactly what you said before, but it was something like this. Oh, I need to hit the stream marker button. Well, I suppose I don't really, because I know this is coming at the end. But anyway, hi, I'm Rocky Outcrop and I'm a Sagittarius. I really like TA and being a super cool dude. If you would like to see some more of that, and I'm sure you would because this advert is targeted specifically at you, then jump on over to the Rocky Outcrop channel, hit that subscribe button. We do technical analysis on a daily basis, not financial advice. No things. No, right, that's crap. That's crap. We'll have to do it again. Hi, I'm Rocky Outcrop. I really... No. Shit. Then hit the button one more time. Hi, I'm Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius and I really like TA. Also like being a super cool dude, and we run a really friendly community where we do live streams doing technical analysis. If you want some more high quality technical analysis, and I know you do because I've targeted this advert specifically at you, then be sure to jump over to the channel and be a part of this fantastic community. I really do appreciate you watching this ad. I'll see you over on the channel. Hit the subscribe button down below. See you the next time I do a live stream. Okay, how about that? If you're watching along, let me know what you think of that advert. That's probably going to be the advert, right, yo? I'll catch you next time. Your background should be a chart for an ad. It is a chart. Oh, shite. Sorry. Oh, I forgot what I was doing. Gonna have to do that again. Thanks for that heads up, TradeSpot. Right, okay, cool. So we'll just do this one last time. When will Tether pump? I'm on the hoops. All right, yeah, great. Nice one. Cool. Cheers. Okay, sound. So, hi everyone, I'm Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius, and I also... Sorry, that line just makes me laugh. Hi everyone, I'm Rocky Outcrop. I'm a Sagittarius and I really like TA. I also like being a super cool dude, and we're starting a really fantastic community of traders out there. I'm looking for 1,000 fantastic traders to be around me. If you want more high quality technical analysis, and I know you do because I specifically target this advert at you, then be sure to hit that subscribe button below the ad and join us on the Rocky Outcrop channel. I'll be back on Monday with another live stream. Really enjoyable stuff. Check out the last one on the channel. You'll enjoy it. I'll see you there. I'm Rocky Outcrop. See you next time. Right, cool, that'll be good. We'll just do that as the ad. Who cares, whatever it works out as. I didn't mention the words cryptocurrency, so I shouldn't get it, banned immediately. And I don't have a cryptocurrency chart up behind me. So if I get banned for being cryptocurrency, you gotta wonder what that's all about, right? Anyway, we'll check in with this. I'll tell you how it all went over the weekend. A nice weekend of advertising with that ad, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, as well, it might be the case that that ad also gets banned, and I really don't know at that point how I would actually respond to that, because I just don't know. I see so many of these adverts out there, I just wouldn't know. Anyway, yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to tune out now. I'm not going to bother with that whole ending screen thing for ages and ages. I'll leave one up for 2 minutes with just, thanks for tuning in and all that up there. I'll see you all again on Monday. I really do appreciate it. If you're still watching and you haven't hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it if you did. And if you want to come back over the weekend and leave a few comments in this video, it'd probably help. I enjoy reading them, as you know. So at the very least, we'd be having a sort of conversation. Okay, cool. I'm going to say cheerio for now. I'll hit my mute microphone button. I'll jump over to the other page where it's got the chart full screen, put up a note saying back on Monday. Thanks so much, yada, yada, yada. I'll see you next time. And maybe over the weekend, I'll make a video about swing failures. Who knows? Depends how I feel about things. I see Smoking Token coming in here right at the very death, saying, thanks, Rocky. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, you're more than welcome. I'll catch you later. Not why your donation hasn't arrived yet. Neither am I. Of course, I really appreciate the effort. You might find later on that it comes back to you somehow, whatever. If that's the case, then feel free to donate it again. That'd be cool, whatever. It's all good. But I'll catch you on Monday when I come back. And yeah, I'm really disappointed that they didn't come up and say it, because it has your name on there. I probably got a message as well. That's really annoying. Does it? It might be that OneUp wallet doesn't support the 2.0 token. Oh, oh, they've just changed. Oh, I didn't even know. So in terms of fundamentals, there's a lot to be said about rep that obviously I didn't talk about in the chart. Maybe that's the reason why we've got some of that volatility. If I check my alerts thing here, I don't see the donation coming in there. So it certainly doesn't look like it worked. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I really do. I mean, I appreciate it, right? The gesture is important, and I appreciate that anyway. So that's cool. That's what we're all about here. Good times with good people. That's all we're looking for, right? Don't think crypto gets returned would be a first. Oh, I just meant if the transaction failed. But then, of course, if it's left your wallet already, I'm sorry, I hope it wasn't too much. Or then again, if it was loads, thanks, man, that's really nice of you. But then again as well, I hope it wasn't too much. Yeah, gesture appreciated very much so. I'll catch you next time. I am going to head off now. Really do appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a little bit of clarity there about that. I'll check my wallet over on Coinbase or wherever they go and see if it's something arrived, and maybe just OneUp didn't sense it but it still made it there or something like that. Who knows? I'll let you know. If you leave a comment in the below the video, just so that it's easy for me to find you, just say hey, then I'll tell you whenever I've checked my wallet if it ever actually arrived or not. And that brings us to the end. Not bad. 55 bucks? Seriously, was it 55 bucks? That would be the biggest donation so far if I had. I reckon you're probably joking. But if it was 55 bucks, that's good on you. Cheers. And then I hope that you got 55 bucks worth of TA out of it. Personally, I would say that you did. I would say that these things are worth quite a lot. But obviously it depends on how you're able to action it, whatever. Really appreciate everyone. I've said that 1,000 times. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I seriously appreciate your attempt there, by the way, Smoking Token, and to every single other person who tuned in today. It's cool. I'm going to catch you all later. I'm going to put up the end screen, all that stuff. Catch you. Oh, you're just saying question mark. I think I've maybe over confused you there with what I was talking about. I hope you got 55 bucks worth of TA out of it. Anyway, yeah, it was the 55. Well, there we go. It was the 55. I really do appreciate that. Puts you, by the way, as the current DOP donator, which means that you really ought to be like on the channel, on the on the box below. I mean, it's really unfair that you're not. So I'm going to have to try and fix that, even if I just type it in myself, right, until such times as the next donator comes along. In fact, I'll just do that now on the live stream with you, because I think that's about as fair as you can really ask for. Because it's supposed to be there, right? It's supposed to be there. So we'll just add a wee note. Add source. The text is going to say largest donator so far, exclamation mark, and put in your no exclamation mark. We'll just say, and it's smoking token, and $55. Awesome. Largest donator so far. I don't know if that's appearing on screen yet. Don't know where it is. Oh, there it is up there. Oops. Oopsie doopsie. There we go. We have a note up there. I'll put it in the bottom right. Largest donator so far. And I can leave that there until such times as it gets beaten. So there you go. Nice one. There goes the top spot. Well, that's you, buddy. You're on the top spot. Who was the top spot last time? Oh, was it yourself? It was yourself, Trade Spotting. You were the previous largest donator. I don't have enough screen space to put on like a list of top 3, I don't think, but I can maybe do that down the line. Yeah, it's got to the point where I really need to say goodbye now, okay? So yes, fantastic. I want to get that issue fixed pronto, absolutely do. It might just be because of the rep thing, so I need to check and see whatever happened and all the rest of it, but at any rate, really great to have you all here, and I'll see you on Monday. Yes, enjoy your weekend. Might come back with a swing failure video because Susan and TradeSpawn were talking about that being a good idea earlier on over the weekend, but who knows if I will do that or not. Who knows? Something that's worth explaining though. Who knows how much money has been sent to nowhere? Yeah, I want to make sure that it's working, but there has been some crypto donations come in, and I haven't changed any settings. Well, I don't know. Suppose one upcoin could just be nicking it all, couldn't they? Anyway, like I say, I have to go, otherwise I'll just sit here chatting to you all night. It's got to that point, you know, whenever you're like, God, guys, stop talking, I need to leave, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, great, see you next time, okay. That's what it's like now. So I'm going to go before it gets embarrassing. See